In round 2 of the FCS playoffs, the Richmond Spiders rolled over William and Mary, while the Redbirds of Illinois State took care of business against Western Illinois. Tonight, it's the march to the quarterfinals. Richmond, Illinois State, next. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. It is windy but mild in the Midwest. A good look at Hancock Stadium, the first ever meeting between Illinois State, the 2 seed, and the 7 seed from the Colonial, the Richmond Spiders. Well, we have dwindled the field of 24 down to the remaining 8. One of 2 quarterfinal matchups on this Friday night. It is a log jam of Missouri Valley Football Conference schools at the bottom. The odd man, Richmond from the Colonial. Can the Spiders crash the party? And with that, a big welcome, Sean Kinney, alongside former NFL and college coach Al Groh. Great to have you with us. Many would argue that the Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Colonial have become the dominant conferences at the FCS landscape. After all, the Missouri Valley has used a simple philosophy, power football. These 2 teams are cut in that mold, and Richmond's confident they're tough enough to match that physicality tonight.
They're a tough-minded team physically, offensively, and defensively, Sean. And, playoff football, it's exciting, it's challenging, and the deeper you go, it becomes unpredictable. We've got 2 evenly matched teams tonight, and it ought to play out very excitingly.
All Trey Roberson has done since he arrived on campus at Illinois State is score touchdowns and win football games. 22-4 as a starter. What makes him so special?
Well, he's a multi-talented player, but he's got the heart of a lion. He's a great competitor. He's got 14 touchdowns this year despite missing some games. That's remarkable for a quarterback.
Now on the opposite side, defensively for Richmond, one of the Spiders that's going to be tasked at trying to slow down Roberson is David Jones, who has had a record-setting year in the back end of that defense.
Oh boy, what a playmaker he is. He returns punts. He's the second leading tackler. Last week he had a 100-yard interception, returned for a touchdown. He's just an all-purpose, all-over-the-field guy.
Illinois State feels they have some unfinished business after last year's narrow miss in the national championship, while Richmond is confident they can snap the stranglehold that the Missouri Valley has at the FCS. Kickoff coming up next. A very light rain starting to fall here in Normal, Illinois. Hancock Stadium for the first time in the history of this facility, the host in the quarterfinal round. The temperature is mild, but the rain is moving in. Some light rain in the forecast. The wind also could be a factor from the southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Illinois State won the toss. They elected to defer, so we will see Richmond out of the gates here to begin the festivities on a Friday night. The FCS quarterfinal round, the first ever meeting between these 2 proud programs, Illinois State and Richmond. And we are underway with the approach and the kick, Sean Slattery. High end over end kick. Collins will watch it bounce out of the end zone for the touchback. This high-scoring Richmond offense has been led by the highly efficient Kyle Laletta. Laletta, a redshirt sophomore out of Exton, Pennsylvania. Utilized his redshirt last year. Some big shoes to fill coming into this season, following up Michael Strauss, the record-setting quarterback for Richmond the past couple of years. But a new system in place, a new offensive coordinator, and Laletta has fit in just fine for Coach Danny Rocco and company. The Spiders from the 25-yard line out of the traditional lie, and Lalletta's going to throw, flush from the pocket. He's going to take a shot downfield, looking for Diggs, and it's knocked away. There is a flag back near the quarterback as Devontae Harris was able to get the pass breakup.
Coach Danny Rocco.
Number 55, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Sean, Coach Danny Rocco said he was committed to taking some shots in this game. Well, they didn't waste any time, and they got one of their big play receivers, but he was well covered down the sideline. It was the pressure in the backfield that got the quarterback out of his rhythm. Now with the holding penalty, 1st and 20, wind in their face. The Redbirds couldn't have asked for any more.
Holding call on Nicholas Burgos for Richmond, the second team All-CAA performer, the redshirt junior. So at the 15-yard line, they will go to the ground, and our first look at Jacoby Green. Not much for Green as he picks up a yard. As we take a look at the impact players offensively, Al, you know where the ball wants to go through Jacoby Green.
Jacoby Green's had a spectacular season, Sean. He's elusive. He's a one-cut runner with pace and vision, but he'll put those pads down and run behind his pads. And Pat Meehan, an all-conference player, this is just a rugged, true, classical middle linebacker type of guy.
Meehan has led this defense 3 consecutive years in tackles. 2nd and 18, they're going to move the pocket. Laletta looked like he wanted to take a shot downfield. Nobody open, and he's forced to dump it off. He felt the heat from David Perkins, the former Ohio State Buckeye.
The Redbirds have opened on 2 pass plays with very tight coverage. There's been nobody open either time for Laletta. That was a wise decision just to throw the ball out of bounds.
Danny Rocco in his 4th year, the 1984 Wake Forest graduate, 4-time Eddie Robinson Award finalist, guiding the Spiders back into the playoffs for the 2nd straight year. What a job he has done with this proud program.
The Redbirds are primarily a zone team, 4-man rush on 3rd down. At long yardage, I would expect that to continue.
4 receiver set, flag down. They take a shot to the seam. Porter Abel makes the catch, but there is a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Looks like it might be offside on the defense, Sean.
Defense.
Well, that's
decline. Observe the play. It's a first down.
What a big play for the Spiders. A great field position advantage gained, and a terrific call by the Richmond coaches who know that Southern Illinois State, Sean, loves to run the classic Tampa 2 on 3rd down, and they had a perfect Tampa 2 beater. We'll get into some detail as to what exactly constitutes Tampa 2 as we go on.
Porter Abel with his 13th reception of the season. It goes for 35 yards and a huge 3rd down conversion. Laletta is going to throw, again moving the pocket. Fires near side, incomplete. Looking for the team's leading receiver, Brian Brown. Let's see how these two teams planned for success. Brought to you by Northwest Mutual. Richmond, the 2008 national champions. Mike London was the coach back then, making their 10th postseason appearance. Illinois State was a minute 37 away from winning it all last year against North Dakota State. The heartbreaking 2-point loss. 19 consecutive home wins here at Hancock Stadium. That's the longest at the FCS level. 2nd down and 10. Green with the cut. Bounces off the initial defender. Barrels forward for an extra yard or 2. And a 3rd down coming up.
Well, he showed right there why he's a no-nonsense back. But he's a no-nonsense back with real running talent. He can turn short gains into big gains, run over guys as well as make them miss.
This program was stagnant prior to Brock Spack's arrival. The former Boilermaker of Purdue has brought a hard-working work ethic here to Normal, Illinois. It is a blue-collar football team, no-nonsense approach, and it has worked. Another 3rd down for Richmond, 3rd and 6. Opening drive of this quarterfinal bout. Laletta with time, takes a shot downfield, receiver open. Brown makes the catch inside the 10-yard line as he was able to beat Devontae Harris.
Oh boy, Sean, starting last night with the Thursday night game and through next Monday night, there'll be a lot of games played this weekend, and nobody will make a better throw and catch than the Richmond Spiders did on that particular play from Laletta to Brown. That was a terrific fade route thrown over the outside pad where only the receiver could make a play on the ball. He used his body to shield the defender, and now the Spiders are in the low red zone scoring territory. Big-time football play on that one.
2 3rd down completions on this drive. 1 for 35, and now a 34-yard hook up to Brown. Green trying to slice through a tiny hole. He is met and driven backwards. Alex Donnelly and Pat Meehan, the 2 linebackers.
As we said earlier, Coach Rocco told us that he was committed to taking his deep ball shots in this game, and he's taken 2 very successfully and impressively, Sean, into this significant win, which does not seem to affect Laletta at all.
The Spider offense has been very effective inside the red zone. Danny Rocco trying to get his team on the board first. Second down and goal. They go shotgun. Abel, the lone receiver, to the right. That's Brown in motion. Green is the back. They float the pocket right. Looks like they want the throwback. Laletta looking. He's going to try to scramble. Not much there as he falls ahead for a yard. Alejandro Rivera stayed at home. Coach, it looked like they wanted the throwback, but the Redbirds secondary not fooled.
That's the second time that they have brought Laletta out of the pocket to his right. Last week they did a lot of business on those type of actions, quarterback rolling out to his right. The Redbirds have clearly scouted them out very well. They've been all over it both times so far early in the game.
So third down has been their ally on this drive. What do you see the Spiders dialing up here?
Well, I'd look for some type of crossing route or an isolation now that they're in a 3-by-1 set, an isolation to Diggs over here on the right.
They have Pavic as the fullback, offset eye. Play fake, they bootleg right, runner throw option. Laletta's going to run, and he is slowed down by Donnelly. He got just enough of the young quarterback out of Pennsylvania, and fourth down coming up for Richmond.
Well, the Redbirds, Sean, are now 3 for 3 in defending those rollouts to their defensive left. They're all over Pavlik that time. He was the leading receiver in terms of number of catches last week. Illinois State knows that. They've done a real nice job of taking him out of the game. But Richmond, success with their deep ball game so far early on.
Let's see if Peter Yoder can shake off the rust. He has not attempted a field goal in the last 3 weeks. His last attempt nearly a month ago on November 14th. No problem on this chip shot. 19-yard field goal, and Richmond fires the opening salvo. The Spiders march it down the field, but they have to settle for 3 here in Normal. The 2015 NCAA FCS football quarterfinal is presented by Northwestern Mutual, proud to be an official financial planning partner of the NCAA. Against the wind, in a hostile environment, an impressive opening drive by Richmond. 10 plays, 73 yards, a little more than 4.5 minutes off the clock. A 19-yard field goal by Yoder, and a 3-0 Spider lead.
Good sign for the Spiders to be able to get 3 points on the opening drive into that wind and doing it with long throws.
Yoder against the wind with a very shallow kick, and a running torpedo catch is made, and then a heck of a collision near the 30-yard line. George Morera had to come sprinting up, all barrels forward. Terrific concentration by the young freshman out of Louisiana.
Yeah, and that kick just hit an invisible wall, Sean, and it came almost straight down at a 90-degree angle. Real good job on his part of catching the ball under those circumstances. And Richmond's chore here tonight, Sean, primarily is going to be to stop this running game. 2/3 of all plays this year for Illinois State have been running plays. The Spiders are going to have to load it up to stop it and turn it into a one-dimensional game.
Here comes Trey Roberson, one of the more electrifying players in the FCS level. Deep shot, just like Richmond, looking downfield, just beyond the outstretched arm of his intended target, trying to hook up with the speedster Anthony Fowler.
Well, Coach Spack and his offensive coordinator, Kurt Beathard, they got the same plan as the Spiders do. That is, as a run-oriented team, they want to try to push the defense back by taking some early game shots so that they can get their running game going against a less than loaded box.
This receiving core took a hit to graduation last year. No Cameron Meredith, Lasheen Neblett, both key contributors through the years, and guys like Fowler have had to step up. Here's one of the best running backs in the country, Marshawn Coppridge. What a season for Coppridge, the 2-time Missouri Valley Football Conference Offensive Player of the Year.
Omar Howard, the middle linebacker, he's a downhill linebacker. He's the heart of the run defense. He's the quarterback of the defense. He gets it all lined up. He and Coppridge will be making each other's acquaintance quite a few times this evening.
Coppridge led the Valley in rushing yards this season, approaching another 2,000-yard campaign. 3rd down and 7. Richmond rushes 4. Roberson in trouble, and he's sacked. The Spiders get to him. And Illinois State will be forced to punt.
Winston Craig, the best offensive lineman, comes free on a game on both sides. They ran a game on both sides, Sean, a four-man line game with all four defensive linemen. Coach Levern Beelan, the defensive line coach, has done a terrific job teaching these four-man games to his defensive linemen. Second game in a row, they've opened with a sack on a four-man game.
About the freshman, Ben Schreider, listed number 3 on the depth chart, a defensive end out of Berkeley, California, sacking Roberson.
Well, Schreider's a freshman on that regular down depth chart, Sean, but he's a first-team player on their third down sub-defense because he does bring more speed to the front line.
Richmond with some emotion here in the Midwest, a long way from home. Spiders, the early lead. Richmond on top of Illinois State, 3-0. Spiders with their second possession in this opening quarter, 8:22 to go here at Hancock Stadium. An impressive opening drive for the sophomore Kyle Laletta. 2 long bombs to his 2 favored targets with Abel and Brown. And now they begin drive number 2 from the 18-yard line. 3-step drop, again, deep ball. This one goes through the arms of Diggs. Incomplete. This Richmond program back in to the playoffs for the second straight year.
Sean, you know, we see so many times in college football now these quarterbacks looking over to the sideline to get the call from the offensive coordinator in the press box. Richmond obviously is making the calls originally from there, but their quarterback has great liberty to change the play at the line of scrimmage on his own, and that's what he did on that play against press man coverage.
Private university, enrollment under 3,000, but a strong football tradition through the years. Again, they're moving Laletta. He paid the price as he's forced to throw it away. That rollout right has not been there for Richmond for the second time. It was Perkins putting on the heat.
Well, it certainly was, and Spence Nowinski, the defensive coordinator for the Redbirds, has got his guys well prepared for that. And that's one of the critical things you have to do in playoff football is take away the things that an offense does best and make them play with their alternate plan. And other than those deep balls, the Redbirds have been successful in the early going in doing that.
These are these situations where Illinois State likes to run that Tampa 2 on these third and longs.
Well, it certainly is. The Spiders had a real good plan for it the last time. It looks like that's what we're going to get again this time, Sean.
With a second on the play clock, they're going to fire looking for Brown, and he makes the over-the-shoulder catch. Oh, what a throw and haul in for the second time in this first period on third and long. Laletta to Brian Brown.
Boy, Sean, I thought that first one was spectacular. This one was even better. Okay, throwing it into the wind. This guy's got a great touch for putting the ball up over the outside shoulder. It's the exact perfect place to throw it for a quarterback. He lets his receiver Brown go and make the play. Took a lot of guts and a lot of confidence on Laletta's part to air it out like that.
Trouble brewing for Richmond, though. Laletta took a shot. He leaves, so here comes David Broadus, and he'll hand it to Jacoby Green. Green with space to roam, cuts on to the Redbird side at the 35-yard line. So all things cooking right now for Richmond, maybe with the exception of the possible injury here to Laletta. But David Broadus will try to keep the momentum going as they take a look at Laletta on the Richmond sideline.
Sean, that's what happens when you hit some deep balls. You push that defense back. You keep the safeties from creeping down low. That gives them an opportunity to open up the deep ball, the running game, and that was the plan.
18-yard run. Broadus is a running quarterback. That's what he brings to the table for Richmond, and you see some of his lower leg drive as he piles ahead close to a first down.
You're exactly right about that, Sean. Now, he too can throw the ball, not the way the Laletta does, but he brings the extra added aspect of it is he's a second running back in the backfield now besides the tailback. 4-down territory for the Spiders.
He's been an effective runner at times, the most experienced quarterback on this Richmond roster. We mentioned Strauss and Danny Rocco's nephew, Michael Rocco, both graduating last year. First down and 10, Jacoby Green with a cut. Runs ahead inside the red zone. One thing about these backs. They are one cut and upfield for Richmond.
Well, that's the way Danny was brought up in coaching. That's what he prefers. Okay, no nonsense running, downhill running. You'll notice that both of these teams will have the quarterback under center quite a bit. We don't see that every week with the tailback directly behind him. That change in offense has really suited Green this year. He runs back best set deep as he is on this play.
Second down and short. They'll push it to the right. This time Green has his door slammed shut. Knifing down the line, making the play for Illinois State was Nathan Elo, freshman out of Independence, Missouri.
Well, now on third down, Richmond's made some substitutions here. They're in four-down territory, Sean, with Seth Fisher and now Broadus in the backfield as a running-type quarterback. Would not be surprised to see a run on this play.
Fisher with 29 career touchdowns. He's the back. Drake goes in motion. They fake the jet sweep. As Coach mentioned, it's Broadus straight up the middle, and it looks like he'll have enough to move the chains. Another third down conversion. Richmond 4 of 5 on third downs in this opening period.
Critical thing going on the sidelines here, Sean. Kyle Lauletta has left the field, gone to the locker room with his pads off, with his left arm hanging down to his side. They're going to treat him in the locker room and see if they can bring him back.
So we'll continue to monitor that situation. In the meantime, Broadus has pushed the Spiders inside the red zone. From the 13-yard line, it's a draw all the way. Broadus inside the 5 to the end zone. Touchdown, Richmond.
Well, a real slick call by Charlie Fisher on that one, Sean, and that's a play that they just put in last week in their first playoff game. They did not have this quarterback draw in previously. They've used it principally in the red zone or on third down, particularly with Broadus in the game. It fit the entirety of the circumstance, and now the Spiders early on are going to be up 10-0.
Another long drive by Richmond, only this time they get 6 instead of 3. David Broadus out of Lambert High School coming out of the bullpen. Richmond doesn't miss a beat. Spiders up by 10. Richmond has had the football twice. They have scored twice. David Broadus on the draw, coming in relief of starter Kyle Lauletta after Lauletta threw a beautiful ball on third down to keep the drive alive. Broadus scores from 13 yards out, 9 plays, 82 yards. Richmond in this first quarter on their first 2 possessions with 165 yards offense, 109 of those yards coming on third down. They are 4 of 5 against the stout Redbird defense. Short pooch kick that will go out of bounds and draw the penalty. Illinois State with the kick going out of bounds will get the football in good shape.
Free kick out of bounds, kicking team. By rule, the ball will be placed at 35-yard line, first down.
Good starting position for the Redbirds. Illinois State out of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Enrollment a little stronger than 20,000 plus. Mike Zimmer, Steve Fisher, some of the notable alumni to come through the hallways here in Normal. Founded back in 1857. Beautiful campus. Combination of Normal and Bloomington here in the Midwest, and they have loved what Brock Spack has done in his tenure running the Redbirds. And now Trey Roberson down 10. He will keep it on the zone read. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Penetrating through with the play was Trevor Jones. He got a hand out there. The athlete Jones with the stop.
Well, Richmond knows all about the running skills of Trey Roberson. He's more than just an alternate runner. Okay, he's a core runner for this offensive team here. Very elusive, but a real nice job on that particular play by Trevor Jones coming from his strong linebacker position. Sean, he's called the linebacker, but he always lines up on the slot receiver. Essentially, he's a strong safety.
Loss of 2, draw for Roberson, picks up a block from Coppridge. Roberson, who played a good chunk of this season with a broken thumb, Barrels past the 40 for good yardage, setting up a third down for Illinois State.
As Roberson showed us right there, he's more than a zone read quarterback. He runs all the runs. He runs the sweep play. He runs the quarterback draw. He runs the option play as well as the zone read. He's a multi-purpose running quarterback, which makes him very dangerous.
Roberson trying to change that statistical category on third down. 3rd and 3. Petkovic, the tight end to the right. 2 receivers that direction as well, and we have movement up front.
Well, the tight end started early.
Number 85, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Redshirt freshman Tyler Petkovic.
At only 3rd and 3, Sean, Richmond chose not to put their 3rd down nickel team in. But now that it's back to 3rd and a long 8, they've put that same 4-man specialty rush team in with their nickel defense.
A little bit of early concern for Brock Spatt. Inside 3 minutes to go and a 10-0 deficit. 3rd and long for Roberson. Trips right, Roberson looking left. Man-to-man coverage, and his favorite target this year is unable to haul it in. Warham matched up against Ayo Oguni. Strength against strength there on that particular play.
Oguni is Richmond's best cover corner, particularly their best deep field cover corner. That was thrown as a back shoulder fade, but a little bit off the mark. Richmond ran another 3 or 4-man game up front. They did put pressure on Roberson. He had to release the ball a little bit sooner than he wanted to. Pressure making a big impact for the Richmond defense on 3rd down.
2 possessions, 2 3-and-outs for the Redbirds. Addard on the punt. He had a 57-yard bomb his first time, and he gets the job done again. Terrific work by Reese Addard as he will pin Richmond deep in their own end. Danny Rocco had a lot of success in his days at Liberty, the 3-time Big South Coach of the Year. Has carried that success over to Richmond, 32-17 in his tenure. Has brought home the Colonial Athletic Association Championship twice. This year named the Coach of the Year. Spent some time at Virginia, and you and Danny go back quite a ways, even before your days in Charlottesville when Danny was a player at Wake Forest.
Danny's done a great job, Sean. Very proud of him. He played for me when we were both at Wake Forest. He's coached for me with the Jets in Virginia, and he's done a great job in his own right here at Richmond.
Expect some conservative calls here, working in the shadows of their own goal line. I assume a steady dose of Jacoby Green as he gets a yard. Matt McCown, there's some youth up front on this defense. McCown, a sophomore from nearby Casey, Illinois.
Well, Richmond has now put both of their fullbacks in the game. There's not a lot of plays they have a fullback in the game, Sean, and now they've got both of their fullbacks in the game. So we certainly can expect, particularly with Broadus as the quarterback, we can expect some strong running here.
That's TJ Moon in front of Green. The other fullback is Pavic. He lines up as the H-back to the right. Nothing cooking as Green tried to follow a Pavic block. Donley playing with a broken hand. In on the stop for Illinois State.
Richmond ran the power play to the strong side. While they are principally a zone team, their main gap scheme play is that classic power play called Power Bobo. Double team at the point of attack. Fullback leads through backside guard poles. Alex Donley was all over it, forcing a 3rd and long in dangerous territory with Broadus at quarterback, and they're going to do it with only 2 wide receivers.
2 tight ends. Play fake, a bootleg for Broadus. He'll throw underneath, pass caught. Good yardage to the 35-yard line. Stephon Jacob, the tight end, only his 6th catch of the year, and another 3rd down conversion.
Well, we can certainly see the commitment of the Richmond coaching staff to these bootlegs coming out to the offensive right. The 5th one of the game, the most productive one, and now makes the Spiders, Sean, 5 for 6 into the wind on 3rd down.
This tight end position, they took a hit to graduation. They lost 3 fifth-year seniors to graduation a season ago. Kyle Lauletta back into the Richmond lineup. That's a good sight for Spider fans. Play fake, deep ball, double move downfield, and it's intercepted by Illinois State. Flying over was Esteem to come away with the game's first turnover.
When you play a single high safety, Sean, that safety has to provide great range from the middle of the field out to the sidelines. And Atemaway certainly did that on that particular play. He got a great read on the play and a long jump on it. He was running all the way for this play, a heads-up play that really bailed out the Redbirds.
Sunyel Esteem, he's in there for the injured Alec Coker. Coker broke his clavicle in the game against Southern Illinois. Here's a guy that has paid his dues through the years, the senior making just his third career start tonight. And he comes away with a huge play to try to jumpstart this Illinois State team. Copperidge bangs ahead for 2.
Illinois State with their own version of the quarterback under center, tailback deep behind him, running downhill. Both these teams are well prepared for that play. They see it all spring practice. They see it in training camp. It's not going to fool either side, so it becomes a matter of execution, offense against defense.
Yeah, we were talking on the car ride over here. In this day of technology where everything is on the computer and the scouting and the preparation for a game, let's just say we had a technical breakdown. These two teams would have no trouble preparing for one another.
Well, they could have gotten ready for this game by practicing against themselves without ever looking at any video. That's how similar these offenses are.
Richmond and their defense forcing the early mistake, and then Broadus, the backup quarterback. Spiders by 10 in a shocker. Mom and Dad, are you looking? A ticket to Frisco. Illinois State still a long way to go, though, as they have really been manhandled here in the opening 15 minutes. Richmond dominating the first quarter as Illinois State starts with second down. The Redbirds bottled up, only 4 yards offense in the opening 15. Roberson will try to change that, and he missed Warham. He was wide open, able to get behind the secondary. A missed opportunity for Illinois State.
It certainly was. The receiver was wide open, Sean, but Trey Roberson broke his thumb earlier this year, missed some action because of it. It clearly has inhibited him throughout the course of the season. It's getting better, but it's not what it was back in August.
Well, we mentioned his numbers down, and rightfully so with an injury like that. He gutted it out. Never used it as an excuse. Had a protective brace on for 6 weeks, but it really affected the way he gripped the football. Third down. Roberson's going to sprint, try to use his feet to get the first down, and he does. Roberson into the second wave, takes it to the 49. A scramble of 18 yards, and a big first down for Illinois State.
Well, Trey Roberson can beat you in many particular ways. Okay, running as well as passing. He showed it right here, Sean. This guy's a tough-minded competitor. He'll do whatever it takes. One of the things that's notable about him, when certain parts of his game don't go as his way, he doesn't get in a funk. He finds another way to be successful, as he did on that third down play.
Brock Spack described it as the uncanny knack to come up with the play at the right time. They stretch it right side. Copperidge looking for a cutback lane, finds none.
But Richmond really stretched that out. It's supposed to be a stretch play for the offense, but the Spiders stretched it out and slammed the hole shut. Eventually, Selden Hodge came off his block to create a second down and 9. They're really keeping Copperidge under control to this point.
Copperidge with 10 straight 100-yard games. He hit 100 in every game this year with the exception of Iowa and their loss to South Dakota State. Second down and 8. This time they will try the left side, trying to pick up a block from his tight end Clements. And again, Richmond showing good lateral speed, chasing down the elusive runner.
Well, David Herlocker, the strong safety, was in excellent position on the slot receiver. It was just a one-on-one fight. Who was going to out-execute the other player? He clearly leveraged the blocker, came off to the outside, and slammed it shut. And once again, we've got that Richmond nickel defense out there. We're probably going to see another 4-man game that's been so successful so far. Herlocker,
a first-year starter, the senior from Charlotte. Third down for the Redbirds. They rush four. Roberson down the sideline, back shoulder. This time, Warren located it. And Illinois State converting on back-to-back third downs.
Big time throw. Again, Roberson showing, hey, this guy doesn't get down. He bounces back. He comes right back when a play has to be made. He made a little bit of adjustment from his last back shoulder. One of the key things was he was able to set his feet and throw it without any pressure, and he came up big on that throw.
Warren has been the guy from the receiver position, the junior out of Fishers, Indiana. Look at the yards per catch. He set a Redbird record with his 14 touchdowns, a single season record. Coppridge trying to get something going, cannot. Bobbled up for a yard or two. Hit on the play by David Jones.
Quite interestingly here, Sean, after 17 minutes of action from these two offenses that are very, very run-oriented with two outstanding tailbacks, we've got a very limited amount of yardage produced by the tailbacks to this point.
Jacoby Green just 35 yards. Coppridge 5 carries for 12 yards in this first half. Sniffing at the red zone, second down. That's Jefferson in motion. Roberson with a pocket. Throws off his back foot toward the sideline. And they're going to say Warren was out of bounds. Could not drag a foot. And Illinois State with 3rd and 8.
They just ran out of space, Sean, but as you very accurately pointed out, Roberson was not able to step into his throw, but he really showed his natural arm strength. He had a lot of zip on that ball as he fired it out to the sideline, and Wareham did a lot of good for him by coming back on a scramble route.
Warren comes split to the right. Jefferson and Gibbs left. They switched the tight end. Clements to the left side as well. Roberson the throw, taking a shot, wide open, end zone, touchdown, Anthony Warren.
Oh boy, we've seen some great receiver play so far tonight, Sean. A beautifully run route by Warren in the red zone. He was lined up here on the right. He came off on a straight stem and nodded into the post. Got the defensive back, Aguni, to turn his hips to the inside and then broke it out to the corner in which he had a lot of space. Beautifully run and executed by Roberson and Warren.
This connection has been on the same page all year to a tune of 15 touchdown receptions for Anthony Warren. A pair of first-team Missouri Valley Football Conference players getting the Redbirds on the board. The Redbirds, something to cheer about for the first time in this opening half. Illinois State on the board for the first time as they take it down the field. 9 plays, 71 yards. Warren capped it off with the touchdown reception, but that was the Trey Roberson show, Coach. You go back to that third down improv, picking up the first down, keeping the drive alive early.
Very impressive drive by Roberson in all aspects. Almost every yard gained on that drive with the ball was in his hands.
So let's see how Richmond responds. Collins from the 5. Gordon Collins out past the 20-yard line, returns it to the 24. The FCS semifinals continue next weekend on ESPN2 and ESPNU. For more information, go to the NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships.
Boy, Sean, playoff football is great, isn't it?
It certainly
is. The excitement of it, the opportunity to move on, a championship at stake, there's nothing like it.
The format, 8 seeded teams, 5 remaining, including these 2 heavyweights, colliding here in Normal, Illinois, under the lights on a Friday here in the Midwest. Lauletta, after throwing the interception, comes back on target. Brian Brown with his second catch. It's a gain of 18 out past the 40.
An impressive throw by Lauletta from his left side of the formation all the way across the field on the outcut to Diggs. Now in that play, Sean, Illinois State said, I don't care how many deep balls you've hit. They had 11 players within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. Lauletta saw it. He checked to his alternate play and let him throw that outcut to a clean side of the field.
Ryan Brown, back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns for Richmond. He's been a prolific playmaker at that wide receiver position. The first Spider ever in the long history to have back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Almost all of the Richmond running yardage to this point, which hasn't been enormous, but almost all of it, Sean, has come over their right side. And one of the reasons for that is Thomas Evans, the senior right guard, who is their best offensive lineman, is winning his battle at the point of attack.
He is their best lineman, and he is the strongest lineman. We'll get more on that in a moment. 2nd down and 5. Looks like Lauletta might be changing up the play. 3-step drop. Timing pattern toward the side is caught. Brown makes a defender miss. Went right by Harris. And Richmond on the march again.
Well, you're exactly right, Sean. You could have put the scouting report together on that one. You saw him change the play up, and it was because he was getting soft coverage. That's part of this quarters coverage that Illinois State features throughout most downs, which leaves the outside receiver to the wide side of the field, easy access.
Danny Rocco, watching his passing attack have a lot of success against the Illinois State secondary. 1st and 10, play fake Lauletta. Looking right, throws on the crossing pattern. Diggs makes the catch. Tackled immediately, but not before another 1st down.
Another one of those rollouts and bootlegs, but what the Richmond coaches have informed their quarterbacks about is that Illinois State is all over the short receiver in the flat, but that's leaving some space for the deep crosser at about 12 yards, which they now have hit 2 times in a row and has got them back in the red zone.
So what adjustment can the Redbirds make defensively?
Well, those linebackers got to turn their back to the quarterback and look for the crosser and play him man for man.
Lauletta will try to stay hot, zips it in heavy traffic. Somehow he got it through. It looked like Rivera was going to get the pick, but somehow he threaded the needle to the former Tar Heel Garrett Hudson.
And he threw this ball with great confidence to stick it right in there. A terrific catch by Hudson, diving forward and holding on to the ball.
Hudson was a walk-on at North Carolina, redshirted in 2013, did not have a single catch last year. Wanted more playing time and has found a home here in that 3 tight end rotation for the Spiders. And here comes David Broadus back onto the field to run the show at quarterback.
And not just Broadus, but Fisher, the big 230-pound tailback.
Broadus will keep it over the right side. Fisher is lead blocker, and Broadus has stood up at the line of scrimmage. Newbold, the hard-hitting secondary player, along with the down tackle, Dalton Keene, in on the stop.
Spiders look like they're staying with Broadus at quarterback. No, here comes Lauletta, which now means that they have a true tailback, Green, in there, and a true quarterback. It's a 1 running back formation now, not a 2 running back formation when Broadus is in there.
TJ Moon, the fullback. Havoc, the H-back to the left. Diggs, one-on-one coverage to the top, and Green is cut down. Penetration right through the center from McCown. Knifing his way through.
This is Richmond's #1 low red zone or short yardage and goal line play. That's the power play to the wingback set. 2nd time they've run it, and 2nd time that Illinois State has played it beautifully on defense.
McCown has had a solid season. Illinois State took some shots due to graduation up front. McCown, Conley, Keene all trying to fill the void. 3rd down and goal for the Spiders. Quick drop, fade pattern, back of the end zone, incomplete. He was looking for Diggs. Harris had the coverage.
Well, Harris stepped up on that one. He was beaten on the previous play right there, but he played that fade route very, very well right from the outset. Forced the field goal. Nice bounce back by Harris.
So that's twice tonight that Richmond has marched the football down the field, and will have to settle for a possible 3. 25-yard field goal from Yoder, who hit from 19 earlier. This one is up and through. Yoder with a couple of chip shots. Richmond back up 6 here in Normal. Brock's Pack hasn't been in this position all that much this year. A 10-2 record. Richmond on top, 13-7. Spiders coming up at halftime. An Iowa Hawkeye comeback story. It's one that you won't want to miss. The Hawkeyes had such a phenomenal season. They have had an inspiration behind the scenes. We'll learn more about that. Also, highlights and stats. Plenty of aerial highlights for Danny Rocco in this first half. It's all coming up at the break.
Pretty amazing so far, Sean. Already 191 yards passing for Richmond. Not as many yards total for the Redbirds, but an effective passing drive on their previous possession.
Well, led a 4 of 5 on that last drive for 62 yards and 7 of 13 in this game for 161. 13-7 Richmond in the first ever meeting between these two teams. The football blown off the tee. We mentioned that win. We were both down on the field earlier, and this is an open-in stadium, so even though the winds aren't as strong as they typically are this time of the year, they still are blowing at enough of a clip to alter the play down at the field level. 15 to 20 mile per hour gust anticipated throughout the course of the night.
Right now, Sean, those flags are dancing and working as hard as they have at any time since the kickoff.
Yoder with the wind behind him. Let's see if he can put a charge into it. It's like these shallow kicks tonight. And having trouble with it back at the 5-yard line. Finally scooping it up is the speedster Jamal Towns. Jamal Towns whistling his way to the near side. Nice job there of making the best of what could have been a difficult situation. The remaining 8 5-seeded teams. You see the 3 unseeded squads. Colgate may be the biggest surprise of the 8. Casey Keeler, he is a postseason magician. His days at Delaware and now with Sam Houston State. Mark Farley and UNI squaring off tomorrow morning in Fargo at the Dome. North Dakota State, and then right here Richmond and Illinois State. Jacksonville State, the top seed out of the Ohio Valley Conference. 2 good defenses in that quarterfinal matchup. Charleston Southern. Redbirds from the 22-yard line. Quick throw out, catch made by Gibbs. Gibbs with good first down yardage, escorted out by David Jones and Ayo Oguni.
That's a little alert pass attached to a running play, Sean. It was first called as a running play to the Redbirds' left. The wide receiver to the weak side, the right, just stands up, and if the quarterback thinks there's too many defenders at the initial point of attack, he just shoots it out there for a quick 5 yards.
Gibbs out of Aurora, Illinois, missed some time this year with a cracked clavicle. He missed 3 games just trying to get his treading back. And Coppridge continues to be contained. Nowhere to go for Marshawn Coppridge.
As good a running back as Coppridge is, and his numbers are certainly very impressive, Sean, there's an old adage about defense. Those running backs all run the same when there's no hole. And the Richmond defense so far has done a real good job of making that adage a reality through a quarter and a half.
D'Anthony Muse on that last play, disrupting Coppridge. 3rd down and 5. Inside 6 minutes to go. It's a design run by Roberson. Has some work to do. Roberson trying to scrape his way to the first down marker. He's going to be pushed out well shot.
The Richmond defense, very alert in that particular circumstance. They had their nickel defense in there, pass rushers, and a coverage call designed to play the passing game, but they quickly reacted to the run and strung it out, even though Roberson showed a real burst of speed to aim for the sticks. Another 3rd down stop for Richmond. They're doing a good job on 3rd downs.
Reese Addard has had a heck of a night. 57 and 60 yards on his 2 punts. And here he drops the snap, forced to rush it away. High, shallow kick, fair catch signaled for. And Richmond with good starting position. Exactly 5 minutes to go. First half, Spiders have never trailed. They lead it by. Richmond trying to spoil the natives' fun here at Illinois State. Spiders on top, 13-7. Richmond with a new offensive philosophy in place this year. Charlie Fisher has taken over as the offensive coordinator. Brandon Streeter, longtime assistant with Coach Rocco in his days at Liberty. In December of last year, he left for a position with his alma mater at Clemson. In January, they brought in a different offensive coordinator, Steve Labotsky, as they take a shot downfield. Labotsky was hired after 3 weeks. He left for the Air Force Academy, his alma mater, so the offense was wide open, and then they settled on Charlie Fisher to run the show, and Fisher has brought a completely different philosophy from what Richmond fans were used to over the previous seasons.
It fits the style of the quarterback and the tailback perfectly. It's a great example of adapting your specifics to the skills of your players.
With all the success that Green has had on the ground this year, Laletta setting up a screen. You don't see a lot of this, and Fisher dropped it incomplete.
Well, that was a good call on 2nd down and 10 following an incompletion. But in that particular case, Laletta gave him a tough ball to catch. Okay, he looks right and then throws left, but he throws it up high. And quarterbacks have to realize, Sean, when they're throwing to a lot of running backs, you know, this is not Jerry Rice they're throwing the ball to. They got to give him a nice, easy ball to catch. He put that up there too high to be a well-run, cohesive screen.
They weren't even sure that Fisher would be able to suit up. He had been battling a high ankle sprain late in the year. The bye week gave him hope. It was his motivation to get healthy. Laletta sack. No, yes, he is down. Perkins had him. Laletta nearly twisted his way out of harm's way, but Perkins gets the sack, and the Redbird defense comes up big.
Yeah, speed rush by Perkins against the left tackle, Richard. Hey, this guy's got a lot of juice coming off the corner, Sean. He's had 15 sacks now, counting that one in 2 seasons. That's real productive pass rushing.
Played 9 games as a true freshman with Ohio State in 2012. Decided he wanted a different environment, and has found a home here in Normal. Redbirds nearly get to the punt. Anthony Warren with some space picks up a big block and returns it to the 46. Oh, a big block by Elo. Momentum changing a little bit here in Normal. Well, I've heard Sharkite is pretty warm. Maybe not a bad costume choice here tonight as we go deeper into this Friday night in Normal, Illinois. Richmond has never trailed the Spiders by 6. Good starting position, though, for Roberson. They will hand it off to Marshawn Copperidge, and Copperidge has nowhere to go. Gang tackling by the Spiders.
Hey, you're exactly right, Sean. It'd be hard to identify who the tackler was on that play, because almost the entire front line and linebacker core was involved by the time the play was over. The Richmond defensive line is consistently winning their battle. They're playing with much lower pads than the offensive blockers for Illinois State are playing with. We now see for the first time a 5 open empty formation.
Richmond with a 4-man rush. Roberson underneath. A diving catch made by Gibbs. Let's go back to that point, Al. Are you surprised with the success the D-line is having against this offensive line, which really Spack described as the strength of the team?
Well, it's a good offensive line that's developing. They're all juniors. They're all coming back. But, you know, you got to do it every week. And I noticed watching video yesterday, they are a high-pad team. And these Richmond defensive linemen have been down underneath them with outstanding leverage on most running plays.
3rd and 2 for Illinois State. Zone read. He will hand it to Copperidge, and he goes nowhere again. DeAnthony Muse, the big body inside, along with Andrew Clyde. Clyde just a freshman out of Dallas, Texas, and Illinois State forced to punt.
Well, Clyde is not an experienced player by years, but he is at this point in the season. Sean, going into this point of the playoffs, nobody's the class year they're started with. They're a season more experienced than he showed it on that play.
It's a big 3rd down stop. Adder trying to pin Richmond deep, gets a fortuitous bounce, hop skipping inside the 15, so Adder does his job.
Sean, that's the 4th 3-and-out for Illinois State, or to put it on the positive side of the ledger, that's the 4th time the Spider defense has forced a 3-and-out. Going into this game, Illinois State had an outstanding record of avoiding that situation, but it's all about the Spiders stepping up and stuffing the first down runs, and so far they have turned the Redbirds into a one-dimensional offense. Now with 2 minutes to go in the half and the ball on the 13-yard line and Richmond with the lead, I would expect Richmond to start this series pretty conservatively.
Points aren't necessarily as important as not turning the football over and eating some of the clock here, I imagine, if you're Richmond and Jacoby Green and company.
Well, yes, you're exactly right. It's a combination of field position, end of the half, and playing to as well as their defense has played to this point. Give the ball back to the Redbirds if that's the case. With limited time left, we're now going down under 1 minute and 40 seconds. It'll be well under a minute should Illinois State get the ball back.
Redbirds with all 3 timeouts. Kyle Laletta on 2nd down, a play fake, has a man wide open underneath. It's Fisher out of the backfield. He hangs on to this one, and like he has done throughout his entire career, this young man finishes his runs. Ball ripped away late, but they're going to say forward progress was stopped as Fisher picks up first down yardage.
Well, with not much time left in the half, Illinois State goes to their favored Tampa 2, but that's a soft coverage designed to play further down the field than short. Lauletta wisely threw the ball underneath the coverage. Now that they've got good field position, they're going to open it up.
17-yard completion, that gives them some breathing room. Lauletta with all sorts of time, picks and chooses, and a good target. Reggie Diggs makes the catch at the 47-yard line. And with 58 seconds to go, Richmond has pushed the ball out to midfield, and the Spiders will utilize a timeout.
Yeah, really well done drive, run on the first play, conservative, likely to be completed pass, out in the flat on the second play, gets in the field position and control of the clock, Sean. So now they can change gears and open it up a little bit, okay, with the confidence that they can run the clock out no matter what happens. Now they're at midfield. The goal now is going to be to get the ball to field goal range. Okay, after that, if they can achieve that, then the goal after that is to shoot for the end zone.
The turnaround date on this season for Richmond was the October 24th game at number 3 James Madison. ESPN's Game Day was on hand. It was a big-time atmosphere, and they racked up over 700 yards offense in beating James Madison 59-49. You see, they stubbed the toe, a couple of road losses at New Hampshire and Villanova. It was interesting, Coach Rocco mentioned how he felt his team was tired. He had to back off a little bit, especially after the 5-turnover game and the loss to New Hampshire. On first down, a strike near first down yardage to the tight end, Garrett Hudson.
Well, clock's running. Richmond's not going to use a tight end timeout right now. They know exactly where to throw the ball against this Tampa 2.
Lauletta has it batted down, right back in his lap, and then he will slide down. Remember, he left the game, went into the locker room earlier in this first half, so he doesn't want to take any more shots.
Well, that's a natural reaction to catch the ball when it ricochets back to you as the quarterback, Sean. But the better thing would have been to knock it down. There's not much yardage to be gained in that situation, and it did cause them to use one of their remaining timeouts.
We mentioned the back-to-back losses to New Hampshire and Villanova, and Coach Rocco telling us he just sensed his team was tired. He had to back down, and that was an uncomfortable feeling for the veteran coach. Talk a little bit more about that when you were the coach and you sensed maybe that your team was physically beat up and you had to curl it off a little bit.
Well, it was also later in the season, okay, as things build up upon your players, and he wisely really conferred with his players, got some input. What I used to do, Sean, was to talk to my very best conditioned players, those guys who I knew had great stamina and endurance. And if they ever told me they were tired, then I knew everybody else was. But that's a good sign of veteran coaching and veteran leadership on the part of head coach Dan Rocco.
One timeout left, 37 seconds to go. The wind behind them as Richmond looks for a late score. Lauletta has Perkins in his back pocket. Dangerous throw, but it's caught inside the 5. Brian Brown again. He's had a huge year, and he has continued that into the postseason.
Well, the Spiders want to get down there and spike this ball right now so they can save a timeout.
There's the spike with 21 seconds to go. 41 yards on the completion to Brown.
Well, again, it was the expected Tampa 2. You can see the middle of the linebacker going back to the middle of the field, but he doesn't get deep enough, and he just gets outrun on that particular play. And really, Lauletta was just taking his chances and throwing it up there. And the Tampa 2, it's a 2-deep coverage, but the middle of the field, Sean, is supposed to be protected by the middle linebacker. Meehan was slow getting back there, and the ball was thrown over his head.
Remember, they still have a timeout, so they can take a shot on the ground with Green. Second and goal, left side, Jacoby Green sniffing ahead, plowing forward, touchdown, Spiders.
This is exactly the way that Richmond ended the half, almost a carbon copy as to how they played last week in their first game in the playoffs. A late touchdown, doing a great job, Sean, of game management and clock management, getting the ball back with limited time, and now they've stretched that margin out very nicely here to go in at halftime.
The verbiage I used as Richmond was getting ready to start that drive was this wasn't necessarily about getting points, but clock management as the kick is blocked, scooped up and picked up. But a good tackle made to prevent the takeback. So let's see if that comes back to haunt Richmond as we go deeper into the night. But Jacoby Green capping off an 87-yard drive, only to have the penetration come up the middle on the point block. So boy, how things can change. You go from clock management to all of a sudden getting some late points and momentum right before the break.
Well, they did a really nice job with it, and the key to it, Sean, was scouting report and game preparation. That is, the Illinois State Redbirds at the end of the half and in long yardage situations on third down, they love that Tampa 2 coverage. It's a soft cover 2 designed to protect all areas of the field deep. There are spots underneath in which to throw the ball, and Richmond had the proper route called on in almost every circumstance to find the soft spot in the zone. And then in the very last play to get them down there, the coverage wasn't played to its full design, and they took advantage of it.
Kyle Lauletta, 5 of 6, 83 yards on that drive. Now 12 of 21 for 244 yards in this first half.
Yeah, 274 for the overall team, an impressive display of throwing the ball.
Brian Brown, 5 catches for 141 yards, and Illinois State is going to have to figure out a way to slow down that aerial attack in the second half. And the Redbirds, on the heels of a national championship appearance a season ago.
Well, a big thing too, Sean, when a team plays Tampa 2, a lot of conversation that people hear about is about the coverage aspect of it. But if you're going to play Tampa 2, you got to get good pass rush, because there are holes in it and there are some soft spots. And all the teams that you're aware of, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers some years ago, for whom the defense is named, and a few others, they always had a fearsome 4-man pass rush to go with that. Other than the one sack by Perkins, there's been little pressure on Lauletta on his pocket throws so far in the first half.
Play clock winding down. Roberson gets the snap away. They will hand it off to Copperich, and Illinois State will look to regroup here in the first half. Two highly ranked teams, Richmond and Illinois State, and Danny Rocco and the Spiders flat out dominating the first half. The Redbirds will get the football to start the third quarter, but they have some work to do, some adjustments to be made inside that locker room in an unfamiliar spot here at Hancock Stadium. Remember, they have not lost here since the stadium was renovated back in 2013, a span of 19 consecutive victories for the red and white. So Richmond on top, 19-7. Danny Rocco joins us. And, Coach, what a first half. Kyle Laletta throwing the football. Did you anticipate these type of numbers?
Well, we certainly wanted to throw the ball down the field, and Kyle's doing a good job doing that. I think statistically we're in great shape, but the scoreboard is still, extremely tight. So we're going to have a very challenging here second half. So we're excited about where we're at, but we got a long, long, long way to go.
Dan, you've really lived up to what you said going into the game. You were committed to throwing the ball deep.
Yep.
You've done an excellent job of that, but what has really also stood out is that defensive front line. They've lived up to that adage, that we've talked about so often. Those running backs all run the same when there's no hole. They've done a great job of making sure there is no hole.
Yeah, I think we have a good plan, Al, and the guys are executing the plan. Bob's calling a great game defensively, but we got to continue to set our edges there. We got to continue to tackle. Obviously, there's a lot of football to be played.
Good luck in the second half, Coach.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks.
Richmond and the Spiders celebrating here in the Midwest after a half of football. It has been the balanced offensive attack. The defense setting the tone early, trying to slow down Warren and the Redbirds. Richmond by 12. Welcome back. We're at halftime, Illinois State and Richmond. Well, 2015 certainly proved to be a solid year for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and they had some extra inspiration along the way. Tonight we visit a former Hawkeye safety who is recovering from a traumatic brain injury and serves as an inspiration for this year's Rose Bowl team.
This is where it began for Brett Greenwood.
Picked off by Greenwood. The safeties come through again.
In Iowa's Kinnick Stadium tunnel, in the darkness, and then into the light.
Solid, man. Sure. Keep those hips square.
And this is where Greenwood is now, in a daily fistfight against fate.
Doing awesome. 30 seconds. Strong with the right.
That determination. That's just him. That's just built in him.
His mental makeup, his determination, his strong will. It's extraordinary.
All the way down to it, then all the way up. Last one.
Good job.
Good, really good.
2, 1.
Good.
Greenwood was born in Iowa, played high school ball in Iowa, and was passed over for a scholarship by every major program, including Iowa. So what did the underdog do? He walked on at Iowa.
He had that look like, I'm going to show you guys how stupid you are. You don't realize I'm a really good football player, and he did shortly thereafter.
To the end zone, juggled and intercepted.
As a senior team captain in 2010, Greenwood led the Big Ten in interceptions. And in 2011, he was among the last cuts made by the Pittsburgh Steelers. A week later, on September 9th, while working out at his high school field in Bettendorf, the 23-year-old Greenwood collapsed and was rushed to the hospital.
The ambulance got there, and the back doors just burst open, and 2 of the paramedics were working on Brett. The first 2 times they put the defibrillator on, nothing happened.
One of the EMTs yelled out and said, "This is not your day, Brett. We worked too hard." And the third one, they got a pulse. The EMT just turned and just hugged me. He was in tears.
Can you tell me about the day that you heard of his collapse?
Yeah, there are things you remember your whole life, and that's certainly one of them.
A heart arrhythmia had triggered the collapse.
He had suffered a very severe brain injury. One of the suggestions was you might consider just taking him home and removing the feeding tube and let nature take its course.
And I can remember one of the head doctors, I held his hand saying, "I don't want to let my son go." When he came out of his coma, it was like, I compare it to like a newborn baby, relearning everything, learning how to swallow, learning how to eat, learn how to to walk.
Then this past summer, after 4 years and more than 6,000 hours of rehab, Iowa asked Greenwood to lead the Hawkeyes out of that tunnel again.
He's the epitome of man. He's the epitome of an American. They say never walk. And tomorrow he's going to lead you guys on the field. You always say, Brett, you're strong. I used to be. Brett, you're tough. I used to be. Brett, you're a badass. I used to be. This time, he got to actually see how badass he was.
Coming out of the tunnel, I really thought he was going to try to take off running.
Please join the Iowa Hawkeyes in welcoming back to historic Kinnick Stadium.
The fans, to hear the crowd behind him, it just brought such joy to him to know that they were behind him.
You talk about will and determination. Special ball for you, Brett.
They're still praying for you. They're still rooting for you to get better.
344 yards of offense by Richmond in the first half. The Spiders in control, 19-7 here in Normal. Back with highlights and stats after this. Santa's helper certainly not in a jolly mood here in Normal. An unusual position for Illinois State. 19 straight wins here at Hancock. They trail 19-7 at the intermission. Sean Kinney alongside Coach Al Groh. And Coach, I don't know what was more impressive, the Richmond offense or the Richmond defense. Both units got the job done.
You're exactly right, Sean. There's never just one thing that has a half like that to occur for a team. And it was the deep passing game executed by the quarterback and the wide receivers, and the stopping of the running game by the Richmond defense, which was outstanding against a very, very good running team.
Yeah, Marshawn Copperich just 16 yards in the first half, and it was Richmond taking the opening kick and able to move the football downfield. Laletta gets knocked out of the game, no problem, as Broadus filled the void nicely.
Their quarterbacks have been outstanding in whatever they were called upon to do, but Trey Roberson, when given the opportunity, has made some big plays for the Redbirds.
A big moment in this game late in the first half as Richmond was able to mount an 87-yard drive, aided by a 40-yard hookup to Brian Brown, and then Jacoby Green finished the job. 11 plays, 87 yards inside 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, it was an outstanding job of clock management and then very, very good play calling to take advantage of some expected defenses.
Take a look at these numbers. The Spiders, 344 yards of total offense. Illinois State, just 89 yards. The big difference, 5 of 8 on third downs. Richmond able to pick up some huge yardage plays in those critical third down situations. 19-7, Richmond on top. Second half action coming up. Richmond on top, 19-7. Brock Spack joins us. And Coach, first off, what adjustments defensively did you make in the locker room to try to slow down this aerial assault from Richmond?
Yeah, we're playing very poor technically everywhere on defense right now. We can't defend the pass. And got to get off the field on third down. We're doing okay in the running game, but we get them in third down and we can't get off the field. So we got to establish some type of pass rush, put some pressure on the quarterback, and we play better technically in the secondary.
Brock, anything in specific is to try to get Copperidge going with the running yardage that has been so significant of your offense?
Well, we got to try to run downhill, Coach, a little bit better. We're not. They're beating us physically up front right now, and you got to hand it to them. Their defense is playing more physical than our offensive front is right now. They're kind of beating us at our own game, so we got to, establish the run again, and we have, we got runs that we can have success with. I think we can throw the football, but. We just gotta do a better job of just executing our offense.
Good luck in the second half, Coach. And certainly sense the frustration. They're going to need Marshawn Copperidge to get going, running the football. Roberson and his playmaking ability as well, both running and throwing the ball downfield.
Well, Sean, some possible adjustments that the Redbirds might make with their running game is while the core, the foundation of their running game are the zone schemes. Both the inside and the outside zone scheme run both out of the shotgun, and with the quarterback under center, they've been well stuffed on those. but they do have a series of gap scheme plays that involve angle blocks, double teams at the point of attack, often a puller or a fullback leader, and I would expect to see some of those gap scheme plays, which they really have not used to this point. I would expect to see some gap scheme plays perhaps as early as the first play in this drive.
Game number 13. Illinois State has trailed only twice at halftime. Iowa, South Dakota State, the two teams that they trailed at the intermission, they ended up losing both of those games. Mentioned this has been an offense, though, that has been able to make adjustments in the locker room and take narrow leads. Just look at last week, for example, in their win against Western Illinois. Take a tight game and blow it open in the second half. Coppridge and Towns, the two return men, as Illinois State will get the football. Very short kick as they keep it away from those two dangerous return men, taken by the up back. That's Bryce Holm at the 33-yard line. One of two quarters on a Friday night, and we thought this might be a defensive battle. Jacksonville State, the top seed, leading Charleston Southern by a score of 10-3. Charleston Southern with the victory over the Citadel last week, 14-6.
Sean, besides the conversation in the Illinois State locker room about what do we have to do at halftime, the Richmond coaches were not rehashing the first half, but talking to the players about this is what might happen in the second half. This is what we have to be prepared for.
So from the 33-yard line, Roberson is going to roll right side. Now tuck it and run. 35 up ahead. Took a pretty good shot.
Well, that's going to do the job. That's going to count as rushing yardage. Selden Hodge, the linebacker, had the play pulled up, but Roberson, with his athletic ability, was up the field and took the easy running lane for positive yardage. But he's an exciting, aggressive player. He doesn't hesitate one bit. Now we've got an empty formation with four receivers to the offensive left and only one on the right.
2nd and 2. Roberson will look toward that left side. Pitch pattern caught by Gibbs and a first down. Christian Gibbs for the Redbirds.
That's the second empty formation of the game for the Redbirds. The same pattern, thrown to the same player with the same result. Good job of repeating what's been successful.
Third reception tonight for Gibbs. Roberson has completed only 5 passes, 5 of 9, 65 yards. One of those passes, the touchdown to Warren.
And now we've got two tight ends in the game, both set to the left with one in motion now for a 3-receiver set.
First down from the 49-yard line. This will be Coppridge sidestepping his way for 2, maybe 3. This offensive line of Pole Lake Avaloy, Spellman, Lee, and Gelber, they have matched up all season against these big physical teams such as North Dakota State, UNI, some of these big heavyweights. What's been the key for Richmond defensively with their front four that has given this big, oftentimes described as a Big Ten offensive-looking line, problems?
Well, Sean, as they go to an empty set again, we'll get back to that after this play because it'll take a minute to describe how this Richmond team is trying to play.
2nd and 7 for Roberson, empty set. Trey Roberson looking left, zips it near side, right on the money. Hauled in by the true freshman, Bryce Jefferson.
Well, Richmond, Sean, is a 3-4 personnel team, but they play a 4-man front based on the offensive formation. So they give a lot of different looks. They have a lot of targeting problems for the offense, but a big part of it is they're a 2-gap defensive line team, which is not something that the Redbirds has faced with downhill linebackers. That is, they're trying to build the wall on every run and knock the blockers back, and they've been knocking them back quite effectively all game long.
3 down linemen, a rare blitz coming. Roberson picked it up, got rid of it quickly, and another catch for Warham, pushed out by Oguni.
Well, you're exactly right, Sean. That was the first blitz of the game for Richmond. That was the 2 inside linebackers coming up the middle. A blitz made famous by the Pittsburgh Steelers called cross dog. Many teams now run it. Roberson saw it, got the ball out of his hands with a lot of juice on it out to the sideline. So far, the Redbirds' answer has been let Roberson run the offense on every play.
offense, number 30, entered the game and then left. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
You saw the animated Danny Rocco trying to get the officials' attention with the illegal substitution. And the fullback, Brady Tibbetts.
Not a lot of teams, back on the previous point, Sean, not a lot of defensive teams are two-gappers. But Coach Lee Vern Beal, the defensive line coach, has coached in those systems before. When Danny Rocco was a defensive assistant, he was with two-gap teams. It's inherent to their style of play. It's a very physical style of play, and it's given the Redbirds trouble.
Roberson has completed 3 in a row. Has all sorts of time. Roberson looking downfield. Now being pursued. Takes a shot toward the end zone. Incomplete. He was looking for Petkovic. Had lots of time, but the secondary and the coverage doing a nice job for Richmond.
Richmond got it well strung out. They did a nice job here of, you can see they're slow rushing. The intent was not so much to get to the quarterback, particularly by Selden Hodge, the left defensive end on that play, and they kept him from escaping to the outside. Now on third down, keeping him in the pocket will be just as important as getting him on the ground.
Be interesting to see if this is 4-down territory for Illinois State. 3rd and 7. Roberson throws. Warren at it, knocked away. Jordan with blanket coverage. Check that. That was Oguni with the coverage. Those two have been matched up all night. Now will Illinois State roll the die?
That was a change-up by defensive coordinator Bob Trott from anything that he showed in the first half or in the previous game. That is, he went to an odd man front on third down and only rushed 3 and played tight corner coverage over here into the sideline. Had not shown that before. They were all over the pattern, and Roberson really had no place to stick it in.
With the wind behind him, they'll take a shot at the field goal by Sean Slattery from 49 yards out. Kick on the way, has plenty of leg, but he hooks it left, and the Redbirds come up empty here on their opening drive in the second half. It's a game of inches. Slattery just misfired. Richmond by 12. The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. Hancock Stadium here in Normal, Illinois on a Friday night. One of 2 quarterfinals in this year's FCS playoffs. Jacoby Green, tough yards over the right side. Patient running as Green takes it up to the 43-yard line. It wasn't that long ago Richmond won it all. 2008 national champions under Mike London, trying to get back to Frisco, Texas, making their 10th appearance. They have had success in the playoffs, and they're trying to do that on the road here in the home of a Missouri Valley Football Conference school. Jacoby Green, 11 yards on first down. 54 yards tonight for the 1,000-yard rusher. Quick throw on the out pattern. Diggs makes the juggling catch, or did he? They are going to say a catch for Diggs along the Richmond sideline.
Yeah, the ball was thrown behind Diggs on this one. This was all about Diggs' body control and adjustment to the ball. A real nice job of turning around and tap dancing on the sideline to get his foot down before he fell out of bounds.
Reggie Diggs.
Further review.
So we'll have our first replay of the night as they will take a look under the hood. Diggs, 61 catches coming into this game. Had a big year last season with Strauss throwing the football. Pretty good receiving core with Reggie Diggs and Brian Brown. Diggs a senior, Brown just a junior. As we take a look, did Diggs make this catch?
Well, I certainly would call it a catch, Sean. He took about 3 steps before he fell out of bounds. The ball was in his possession as he pushed it across the end line. Should the ball be ruled as coming out, it was caused by the ground and it was caused out of bounds. But that's the purpose of the replay system, to make sure on plays like that.
Diggs had such a big postseason last year. Richmond playing 2 games in the FCS playoffs, eventually falling to Coastal Carolina. But Diggs had 16 catches for over 270 yards in the postseason. And, you know, one thing that Rocco learned, one of many last year in the postseason run, was how valuable that first-round bye was. So that was something that they prioritized during the course of the season as they ran their way through the Colonial.
Well, it's a big help. And back to what you were saying about Diggs last year as a postseason receiver and so forth, the change in offense has resulted in less total catches for their wide receivers. But as we have seen tonight, many more big plays.
The receiver lost possession of the ball when he went to the ground. The pass is incomplete. And the return to the previous spot will be 2nd down and 10.
Well, Sean
continued to run and should be reset to 10 minutes, 42 seconds. 10:42. Start on the snap due to the incomplete pass.
My record of agreement with replay officials is about the same as the record of the Philadelphia 76ers.
You beat me to the punch. I was going to set you up on that, Coach. Your streak stays intact.
Yep.
I was a little worried.
Now, an adjustment that the Redbirds have made is pressure coming with press corners, something we have not seen. Richmond changed the play, so you can see Illinois State is changing the defense.
They still have Edwards right on top of Diggs. It's a draw. Lauletta not much up the middle, trying to surge forward, but he's picked up around the waist. Drugged backwards as Keene latched on.
Real nice illustration right there. Some sophisticated football on both sides. Illinois State came up in press man coverage with a blitz showing. Lauletta changed the play to a man beater, blitz protector. Illinois State killed the original call, went to a zone. Good job of the chess match playing itself out.
This crowd trying to make some noise on this 3rd down and 6.
It looks like it's going to be press coverage once again, Sean. A change up from where the Redbirds really like to play.
Redbirds rush 6. Lauletta a shot downfield. Lots of contact. No flag as it falls incomplete. The top cover corner for Illinois State, Josh Birch, with the coverage.
Yeah, Birch was in tight press man coverage all the way. Blitz coming up the middle. You could see Lauletta under pressure as he just threw the ball up, hoping his receiver could make a play on it, and Birch was all over it right from the start.
First punt of the night for the left-footed kicker, DJ Helkowski. Fair catch signaled for at the 25. There is a flag down. So put on the brakes here. A flag down at the Illinois State 40-yard line. Mention a Big South crew officiating this quarterfinal tonight.
Just out of curiosity, Sean.
There are 2 fouls during the play, during the kick. Holding, number 36, receiving team. That penalty will be forced 10 yards from the end of the kick. After the play, personal foul, hands to the face, number 36, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down, timeout.
Boy, Sean, number 36, he was a bad boy on that play.
Nate Bond, not how you want to hear your name mentioned right before Christmas. You see the shove to the face masks. Penalties hurting Illinois State. Let's take a look back to the national championship last year at the FCS with North Dakota State leading by 9 with 11 minutes to go. Trey Roberson and the Redbirds cut into the Bison deficit to take the late lead. However, North Dakota State marched down the field with the game on the line, and then Carson Wentz scored from 5 yards out with 37 seconds to go, sending heartbreak to normal, celebration to Fargo as the Bison captured their 4th consecutive national championship. Trey Roberson trying to lead the Red back to Texas and Frisco, but a lot of work to do as he begins his drive from the 8-yard line. Gibbs, the sophomore from Aurora, out near the 30, brought down by Oguni. 21 yards on the completion. Illinois State making their 6th appearance, 8-5 all time. Like Richmond, once they get into the postseason, they have had success They were semifinalists back in 1999, losing to the Bison, as you saw in those highlights a few moments ago last year, their first appearance in a national championship. Al, this becomes a critical drive with the wind behind their back. Game and circumstance, trailing by 12.
Oh, you're exactly right, Sean. They've got to do some business in this quarter.
This is Coppridge running to the boundary side. Not a lot of room, not a lot of space. That's been the theme for Marshawn Coppridge.
And that's only the second play of this half, which was not a run or a pass by Trey Roberson. To this point, it would appear that the plan is get the ball in Trey's hands on the majority of plays and let him work his magic.
The prolific numbers put up during the prolific career of Marshawn Coppridge. Second down. Looked like they wanted the home run. They still do. Roberson in the double coverage. Incomplete. He was looking for Bryce Jefferson, but there was no room. Herlocker and Oguni with the coverage.
Well, Herlocker picked up on it very early, and while Roberson held the ball, the route just became extended, and Herlocker, you can see, is with the receiver right from the very start of the play. We're back in that critical third down situation, which Richmond has been dominant in to this point in the game.
Brock Spack's Redbirds 3 of 8 on third downs tonight.
Richmond's back in that odd man front, which is their second half changeup.
Roberson will dance to the right, throw on the run, and he has his man.
Beautiful job by Roberson. It was an odd man front with man-for-man coverage on it, Sean, but a spy on Roberson. So he got outside the three-man rush and stayed deep and never got near the line of scrimmage where the spy could affect him.
Anthony Fowler has had a nice season for Illinois State. The junior college transfer from the College of Canyons, played 9 games last year for the Cougars. Spack described him more of as a track star than a football player right now, trying to get used to the system. This kid can flat out fly. Coppridge is hit hard at midfield and driven back. 1, 2, 3, 4 white jerseys all jumping on the pile. Trevor Jones, the first one to put his helmet in.
This Richmond defensive line play against the running game has been a combination of low pad level. They're consistently underneath the pad level with leverage and explosion against the Illinois State blockers, and the two-gap technique of knocking the blockers back. Once again, we have second and long. We can expect a pass on this play.
Jefferson in motion. Zone read. They run the option out of it, and Jefferson is hit in the backfield. Trevor Jones, they call him the athlete, blowing up the play. A loss of 5.
Trevor Jones in his strong linebacker position, but lined up out on the slot. Saw that play coming immediately, but the key to it was Selden Hodge, who got the ball out of Roberson's hands and made him pitch it backwards. It wasn't a pass, but it was a let Trey run the show type of play. Now on third and long, we're sure to get that, and I would doubt that we'll see that three-man rush from Richmond again.
Third down and long. Roberson's going to step and throw. Caught at the 38. It's his guy, Warham, as he takes it to the 28-yard line. Roberson on cue. When they've needed a big play this year through the air, it's been to Anthony Warham.
And Warham is really wearing out Jerry L. Jordan over there to the wide side of the field. Richmond plays wide side corner and short side corner at 5'8". Jordan is at a distinctive size disadvantage against the best receiver on the Redbirds, one of the very best receivers in all of FCS football.
36 yards in the completion to Warham. An injury as Richmond's Trevor Jones is down. Redbirds on the march when we come back. Trevor Jones able to walk off on his own power. Looks like he will be all right. Richmond needs the fifth-year senior out of Charles City, Virginia. Roberson has the Redbirds on the move. First down from the 28-yard line. Roberson looking. Home run ball. Diving attempt incomplete. Just beyond the outstretched reach of George
Morera was in specifically for that play to replace Coppridge because he's a better receiver. So that was strictly a one-play appearance for George. Coppridge is back in there, Sean. But what we're seeing from Roberson in this half, this is the Trey Roberson who could throw the ball with accuracy and with a lot of velocity before that thumb injury.
Broke his thumb prior to the UNI game this year. Roberson zips, caught. Another catch for Gibbs, circles to the center, and then is hit hard. Trevor Jones back in the lineup, delivered the boom, but not before Gibbs gives the Redbirds first and goal.
Well, Roberson continued his hot streak. If he was a pitcher, we'd say he's throwing strikes on almost every play. That play was delivered with timing, with velocity, with the receiver coming in from wide left into the middle of the field. As we've seen here too, Sean, most of the pass plays completed by Roberson have been on the inside part of the field. They're short, quick throws of high velocity.
Sophomore coming up big here in the clutch on this drive. Illinois State first and goal. Coppridge scoots free. Touchdown, Redbirds.
Well, kudos not only to Trey Roberson for his execution as a runner and passer so far in this half, but for Kurt Beathard, the offensive coordinator, who decided at halftime, look, we got a terrific runner on this team, but the guy who carries the flag for this team, the competitive heart of this team, and the big play producer is Trey Roberson. Let's give the ball to our guy and let him do with it what he can. And Roberson's really stepping up. He's answered the call.
Marshawn Coppridge with his 23rd rushing touchdown of the season. It's been a frustrating night for Coppridge, but he was able to find the end zone here from 5 yards out. Let's see if that gets the talented senior from Victorville, California going, and the Redbirds back in it, trailing by 5. Brock Spack, longtime assistant to Joe Tiller. He was already an all-conference linebacker in his playing days at Purdue.
Brock's done a terrific job with this team after coming over from Purdue, where he was a highly successful defensive coordinator. Both of these head coaches have terrific pedigrees, Sean, and both of them are defensive coordinators who have transitioned to the role of head coach, and they run the entire program. Brock has turned Illinois State in a program with staying power. They'll be a contender for a long time.
When Spack took this job, he used the word sleeping giant for Illinois State. It was a program kind of in mediocrity through the years, and he had some experience with him in his days at Eastern Illinois as an assistant, and he just thought this hotbed for football here in Illinois was a sleeping giant to bring a lot of talent from Chicago, Peoria, Aurora, some of those areas, and he has certainly used that as a big recruiting tool, finding the local talent, mixing in the FBS transfers like Roberson, who had spent the start of his career at Indiana. But that is the drive that the Redbirds so desperately needed. 92 yards, Coppridge with the touchdown run, Roberson 4 of 6 on that drive for 86 yards, 2 critical third down conversions.
Well, 92 yards, that's a long ways to go against what has been a real good defense. And Roberson keyed the whole thing, and now with a good 20 minutes to go in this game, Sean, we've got a one-score football game. Clearly, the math says, and the play on the field, this is anybody's game.
Lauletta to work for Richmond. The play fake for the sophomore. Wanted to go deep, in some trouble, sacked by Perkins, back at the 15. His second sack of the night.
Well, that was what is often referred to as a coverage sack. And that coverage sack came as a result of really good play by Birch and Harris, the two corners, but particularly by the defensive adjustment at halftime by Spence Nowinski. He's gone to press corners on the outside, which has taken away those quick, easy throws by Lauletta, made him hold the ball, given Perkins time to rush. A terrific adjustment, and that's what's gotten these Redbirds back in the game defensively.
The Ohio State transfer in his third and final year here at Illinois State. On the delay, Fisher gets the call, tripped up as he stretches past the 20. And truly, Al, for the first time tonight, Richmond facing a little bit of adversity.
Well, they've answered the bell when challenged throughout the course of the season, but this is a heavyweight that they're in there fighting against right now. There's a lot of energy in the stands, particularly on the Redbird sideline. Everybody in this stadium knows they're back in it. Press coverage once again, no more Tampa 2.
Lauletta fires, caught at the 45-yard line. Tyler Wilkins with his first catch of the night.
What a terrific throw and catch, a great route by Wilkins. Illinois State went to a 2-deep, 5-man underneath. That puts the defender playing inside technique on the receiver. That means he's got leverage advantage on posts and inside cuts, but at a disadvantage on outside cuts like that corner route, and the ball was perfectly delivered by Lauletta. Boy, he's come up big on these deep throws. These are difficult throws, Sean.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Dreshane Glass was about as good a coverage as you could have there on Wilkins, and like we've seen Lauletta do time and time again, he just was able to find the rope, get it through that tight window of coverage. Here he throws it away, nobody open downfield.
Well, that was one of those roll out or bootleg type patterns, but different than the ones that they have completed since the early part of the game. That had no crossing route from the other side of the formation, strictly a one-sided pattern. Again, very well covered by the Redbirds. They're doing a nice job here with these coverage change-ups in the second half.
What a performance from the redshirt sophomore Lauletta, who never started a college game up until this year. Played 5 games in his true freshman campaign, redshirted last season with Strauss and Rocco. Here comes the blitz. They pick it up, looking for Diggs. Goes up high, elevates and catches for a first down.
Boy, that's big-time football right there. What confidence this Lauletta has, both in himself and his receivers. The Redbirds continue to pressure the quarterback. They go to man-for-man in a blitz. Lauletta sees the one-on-one isolation coverage out here on the corner. Press coverage, he throws the back shoulder fade. Exactly as it should be thrown, Sean. Up high at the back of the receiver's head. Perfectly done.
Third catch for 47 yards for Reggie Diggs. First down, Richmond. Hudson, the tight end, in motion. They roll left. They want a throwback screen. Green with a couple of blockers. Jacoby Green to the 5. Touchdown, Richmond.
Oh, well done. Hey, Charlie Fisher, offensive coordinator. Great call, well done. But Lauletta really sold it. It looked just like the previous bootleg to his left. He ran it exactly the same way with the pulling guard out in front to give it validity. Stopped, threw it back. You talked about answering the bell a minute ago, Sean. These Richmond Spiders, they really did answer the bell.
"35 yards and all smiles for the gunslinger from Exton, Pennsylvania. Green's used to running them in, not catching. He did a lot of running there on the screen, 35 yards of it. Downfield blocking from Will McCombs, the wide receiver. And the low squib point after is no good. Second missed point after from Peter Yoder. And the lead is 11 for Richmond.
Well, the first one was blocked because it was low. The second was just low and errant.
Quarterfinal brackets. Jacksonville State, Charleston Southern playing as we speak. The 1 seed and the 8 seed. At the very bottom, Richmond and Illinois State tomorrow in the Fargo Dome. North Dakota State and UNI collide. Sam Houston State and Colgate. 3 seeded teams have went by the wayside. 5 remaining. Started with 24 teams, the excitement of Selection Sunday after the regular season was completed. FCS has it right. I love the 2014 number. I like rewarding the regular season with the 8 seeds in the first round bye and then the hosting of the next round by one of those 8 seeds. It's a good setup.
Well, what to make sure of too, Sean, is any team that's good enough to win doesn't get left out. Out of those 24, nobody's got a beef that they could have won it if they're not in it.
You can tell these two teams know there's no tomorrow. Look who returned that kick, Marshawn Coppridge. They have their big guns on the field for as much as possible here in this second half with 2:36 to go and a 25-14 Spider lead.
Well, Brock Spack put the ball in Trey Roberson's hands ever since this third quarter started with 2 impressive drives, one 92 yards for a touchdown. The other one was moving along nicely till an unfortunate, unnecessary penalty. You can count on the fact that they'll continue with that approach from this point on.
They stack the receivers, a 2-by-2 set. First look tonight for Illinois State and Kurt Beathard. It's a draw by Roberson. You see him use that stiff arm, and that is a big weapon of his. And that was interesting talking with Richmond on the different ways to tackle both Roberson and Coppridge.
Well, it's like in baseball, you know, there's for every pitcher the other team puts in, there's a different way to approach each pitcher. There's a different way to approach each one of these backs. But he is their fastest, most elusive runner, and that's the longest gain running the ball of the game so far.
Roberson near midfield, first down. He's going to realign Coppridge to his left. Third quarter clock, hitting 2 minutes to go. Roberson can't shake free of Trevor Jones.
Well, good thing for the Spiders that Trevor quickly recovered from being shaken up a little while ago. That's the second time. It's unusual, Sean, for Richmond to bring Trevor Jones off the edge like that. They've been very fortunate in the timing of doing that. They've done it 3 times, and all 3 times it's produced a negative play.
Guys like Jones and Herlocker, who have been reserves throughout their career at Richmond, now fifth-year seniors getting a chance to shine. Both have made plays tonight. Roberson, a deep drop, steps and throws. Warham's out there, makes the catch. Anthony Warham tackled immediately, but a first down for Illinois State.
It's a similar route to the one that Warham ran for a touchdown. He comes off straight off the ball without any disruption. Not really a move, Sean, just a little nod to the middle of the field and then breaks it sharply outside on the corner route. Roberson is hot. There was a lot of steam on that ball.
21 yards in the completion. Warham was held without a catch in the final 2 regular season games. He had a big game last week, really the second time that he scorched the Leathernecks. 6 catches, 107 yards, and a touchdown. He has 99 yards. He'll cross over that century mark here on the quick screen. Oguni drives him out of bounds.
Sean, more than likely, the Redbirds are playing this as if it was 4-down territory.
Final 20 seconds that they will have the wind at their back. Let's see if they take a shot to the end zone. Roberson certainly looks that way, fires toward the pylon, caught, what a throw. Warham holds it in, out of bounds at the 3-yard line.
Illinois State stacked their receivers to the right. The 2 receivers came out close together, but at the top of their route, they crossed over, so the outside receiver went to the post. Warham came from inside, running towards the sideline, the corner. That's the 3rd big catch that he's made on the corner route. He clearly is an expert at running that corner route. And how about the throws by Trey Roberson?
Illinois State, a minute 37 away from a national championship a season ago. They had to rally at New Hampshire on the East Coast to get there. Now they have to rally here at Hancock to get to the semis. 4th quarter coming up next. Alongside Coach Al Groh, Sean Kenny welcoming you back to normal as we move into the fourth quarter. Richmond has never trailed tonight. The Spiders lead by 11. But Trey Roberson has started to take over this football game offensively. A Redbird offense that had only 89 yards at halftime, but Roberson's right arm has put them deep in Spider territory. First and goal from the 4. Coppridge flanked to his left. It's a design sprint. Roberson cut off.
Well, Roberson's got 14 running touchdowns this year, Sean, and almost all of them have come in the red zone. He's their best red zone runner. They're making good advantage of him. Redbirds now are going with a big lineup with the ball down there on the 3-yard line. More beef in there, less wide receivers. Richmond is matched with their goal line defense.
Colby Williams, Chad Wiggins, Trey Moore all checking in on this second down play. See the 3-back look. The option by Roberson. He's going to reverse direction, try to turn on the Jets, but staying home and denying the play nicely was Kieran Gregory.
Boy, what a nice play by Gregory, who just came into the game on that goal line defense, used his hands, got separation from the blocker, stayed on the backside, as you have to do when Roberson's running the ball, because he can end up any place with it. Now we've got a critical 3rd down and 5 here for the Redbirds.
Roberson puts his tight end to the right. 2 receivers that side as well. Roberson dancing, steps up, throws to the end zone, caught by Warham, his 2nd touchdown of the night. But there is a flag down. A flag at the goal line, and let's hold the boats here.
Eligible receiver downfield, number 78, offense. Had been more than 3 yards downfield, then retreated behind the line of scrimmage before the pass was thrown. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's Cameron Lee anticipating that Roberson might take off there.
Well, that's a significant error right there on that particular play. 3-step drop pass, short set. But what's overlooked or what's lost here in this is a terrific play by Warham. Right away, Roberson wants to throw the slant route to Warham over on the left. It's well covered, but as Roberson scrambles, Warham changes the route and comes back to the sideline and made himself open. Really a heads-up play.
Same formation after the penalty. 3rd and goal. They go slant, intercepted by Omar Howard. Howard picks it off, and the penalty comes back to bite Illinois State.
Well, by far, in every situation, not only in this game, but throughout the season, Warham is the look-to receiver. He was the principal receiver on the previous play. He did exactly the same thing. Howard knew it. He looked at it. The ball was thrown right where he was looking. That's a championship winning type play.
The 2015 NCAA FCS football quarterfinal is presented by Northwestern Mutual, proud to be an official financial planning partner of the NCAA. Omar Howard and the Richmond faithful breathing a little bit easier. Howard coming up with the red zone interception. It looked like Illinois State had scored. The penalty forces a repeat of 3rd down, and Howard, jumping the passing lane, gets the pick. Here is Diggs trying to make some magic. You see him shove away a Redbird defender. So we go back to the interception by Howard, his 1st of the year.
Roberson looks immediately to his left to Warren coming in from left to right on a slant. Howard had his eyes lasered in on the quarterback right from the start. He looked like a receiver himself, naturally catching the ball.
Howard has been a tackling machine, 113 tackles this year, the team leader. Great wrestler in high school at Lothian, Virginia. His 1st interception, the energizer of the defense, comes up maybe with the play of the year. As you see Broadus back in there, running ahead for 3, maybe 4 yards.
When Broadus comes in the game along with Seth Fisher, the fullback, what really is happening, Sean, is Seth Fisher, while he's called the tailback, is becoming the fullback, and the lead blocker for Broadus, who in effect is the tailback. Now they're both out of the game. Richmond's got their normal personnel in the game with Green at tailback, Loretta at quarterback under center, and a two-back formation with Havoc as the lead fullback.
10 guys make it 11 in the box for Illinois State. Loletta's going to throw, and he gets his guy. A one-handed grab made out of the backfield as Illinois State sent everyone.
Well, they really did. And a terrific, just an athletic play by Loretta, who gives ground, floats the ball out there. He knows nothing's to be gained by taking a sack. If it's incomplete, it's incomplete. Both players stepped up as Richmond receivers, whether they're fullbacks, tight ends, or wide receivers, have done in this entire game. It's been a great game for these receivers catching difficult balls.
The Virginia 5A Player of the Year, sophomore Gordon Collins out of Mountain View with a nice one-handed grab. Jacoby Green, we haven't called his name a lot running the football. Green with 3 over the right side. 14 carries, 57 yards for Jacoby Green. By far, though, his biggest play was his only catch, the 35-yard screen setup that went for 6.
The Redbirds have continued to be very aggressive with their blitz pressure on this possession, and that's likely to continue here on this 2nd down and 8.
Well below their season average, but they have made up for it through the air in the right arm of Loretta. Again, here comes that linebacker blitz. Diggs open downfield, makes the catch right over the top of Devontae Harris. These receivers, time and time again, the faith in Loretta with both Diggs and Brown.
A big key of this game coming in was the matchup of Diggs and Brown against Harris and Birch. And while Harris and Birch have every once in a while made a play, it's been a big night for these Richmond wide receivers. Coach Fontel Mines, the wide receiver coach, has got to be proud of these guys.
Both Diggs and Brown went over 100 yards receiving in the win against James Madison this year. Both closing in on that. Brown's already there. 5 catches, 80 yards for Diggs. And here comes Richmond again on 1st down, and the play is blown dead.
Prior to the ball being snapped, timeout. Richmond, their first timeout of the half.
The Spiders will use the timeout. Approaching the 10-minute mark, Richmond has never trailed. The Spiders certainly spinning their web in normal. Danny Rocco in his 4th year guiding this Richmond program, and right now his Spiders in control. And you take a look, Al, you recognize any of these names, former players and coaches that you've seen through the years?
Well, I certainly do, Sean, and we're very proud to have played a small part in any success that these guys have had. They certainly played a large part in any success that I had, and particularly proud of Danny Rocco, who was a player for me and then a coach for me in 3 different locations, and he's certainly exceeded anything that I ever did. He's done a great job here with this Richmond program.
After the timeout, 1st down, Green to the boundary side, bouncing off tacklers into the secondary, makes a move for 6. Oh my, what a run by Jacoby Green. And will that be the dagger?
Yeah, what a run is right. There's some backs, all backs carry the ball, Sean, but only a select few carry the flag for their team. And he showed, while he carries the flag for the Richmond Spiders, this is going to make it awfully tough for the Redbirds from this point on. That's the heart of a champion on that play.
The point afters have been an adventure, but this time Yoder figures it out. A blend of power, a blend of determination, little shake and bake and closing speed. Spiders by 18.
ESPN, home of the New Year's Six and the College Football Playoff. The
New Year's Six, lots of anticipation. We have the FCS 8 here, and that field is going to be dwindled down to 6 after tonight. Jacoby Green, who has been on an absolute tear of late. Green, over the last 6 games, averaging 178 yards on the ground, a 27-yard highlight reel type run. Jacksonville State leading Charleston Southern late, 20-10. The top seed of the remaining 8. And Richmond in a stunner right now, 32-14 over Illinois State. And Trey Roberson, who was picked off deep in Spider territory, will try to regroup this offense and get some points quickly. Still lots of time with 10 minutes to go.
Sean, there are 2 components to putting a game away in the 4th quarter, and the Spiders will be trying to put an emphasis point on both of those, and that is 4th quarter pass rush and run the football.
The Redbirds in their largest hole of the season, down 18. Roberson skirts free from a defender, settles in on Warham, slips free from Trevor Jones, and then they caught him from the backside. Nick
Warham's an outstanding route runner. He really knows how to set the defender up and get open. And Roberson stood right in the pocket. The pass rush was intense, and that's all Richmond's going to do on every play right now. They've got their ears pinned back, and they're going to rush the passer.
A couple of former Mr. Indiana football players for Illinois State with both Roberson and Warham. Warham took home the honor in 2012. You talk about his route running, Al. This is a young man in high school that has the Indiana record for career receptions and career yardage, 269 receptions while playing for Heritage Christian School, over 4,900 yards, 62 touchdowns. Plus, he was a phenomenal basketball player, over 1,000 points in his high school career. Look at the yards per catch. 5 of his grabs tonight over 20 yards. Roberson down the center, caught at the 45. Bryce Jefferson with his second catch, and you'll see the hurry-up mode now for Illinois State.
Bryce lined up on the left, ran an in-cut coming from left to right. Roberson fired it, put it right on his numbers. Easy catch. Richmond's gone back to that odd man front.
Roberson feels the heat, takes a shot down the center again, incomplete. David Jones, and an FCS high 9 interceptions in the vicinity.
Well, David Jones is going to see the ball thrown in his area quite a bit. Okay, Craig was on the pass rush once again. He's an excellent pass rusher for the Spiders. Hey, these defensive linemen, they love to rush the passer, and it's going to be that on almost every play. Spiders have now come in with their nickel defense, so they've got their 4 best pass rushers in there in the best alignments possible. Likely to be another one of those 4-man games.
Ben Schreider, Andrew Clyde. Roberson a deep drop. Gibbs makes the catch, is spun down immediately. Good hard hit put on by Justin Rubin, a true freshman from Southampton, Pennsylvania. 9 yards on the completion. Obviously 4-down territory for Illinois State.
Brings up 3rd and 1 for Illinois State from the Spider 46-yard line. Tries to tackle the Spiders number 29, Justin Rubin.
Redbirds right at 50% on 3rd down, and another near interception. Boy, Howard nearly at number 2 as Roberson never saw.
Howard does a very good job of reading the quarterback's eyes when he's in zone coverage and making a break on those short throws. And now in 4th and 1, at this point in the game, the Redbirds have no choice but to go for it on 4th down. Wouldn't be surprised here to see a run, but with Roberson as the runner.
They've showed the option, the zone read out of this look, and the sprint out for Roberson. Coppridge to his right. They'll go with the read. Coppridge darts ahead, and I don't know. This is all going to depend on the spot. Only fitting that they needed just a yard, and they really have to bend some pads to get there.
The Spiders really now should get that nickel defense back in the game. They've got their regular 1st and 2nd down linemen in there. They're not their best pass rushers. It's a passing game from this point on. Danny, get those pass rushers in there.
Going to give Coppridge the first down. Roberson toward the side, giving the receiver some space. John Mark Anderson makes the catch. He'll go up ahead for 12 yards.
And a big key to this half for Roberson's passing, Sean, has been the much improved pass protection. And the reason for that is most of the drop back passes have been on first down against the Spiders' regular defense. They haven't had to block these nickel rushers. Even on first down now, Richmond's got those nickel pass rushers in there.
Winston Craig, the big down lineman, making his 21st consecutive start. Delayed blitz. Roberson takes a shot. Jump ball, and it's tipped away. Looking for Anthony Fowler. Good timing of the leap there by Oguni.
Richmond did bring the heat, brought 5 guys right up the middle of the defense, had Roberson falling backwards. Oguni won that one, knocking the ball away.
Richmond threw for over 400 yards this year, a season high against James Madison. They might not have to put the ball up in the air again tonight. Roberson will, however, as he tries to steer a late comeback. Second down toward the sideline, looking for Warham, incomplete. Roberson had to get rid of that ball quicker than he wanted to. Clyde was right under his chin strap again.
Roberson ended up on the ground after that play. He gets up limping. He took a pretty good shot from Clyde. They also brought Jones off the far corner over there. Richmond has become very aggressive here, Sean, with their blitzing. They're not a team that blitzes sometimes an entire game without blitzing. They brought it 3 out of the last 4 plays.
Working against the wind, Roberson and the Redbirds looking at an uphill battle. Trey will throw, some contact, and it's still caught at the 12-yard line. Warham hauled it in. Boy, he was really jockeying for position.
Good pressure, but Roberson stands right in there, gets his feet underneath him so he can step into his throw, and Warham is running his signature corner route. This guy has been impossible to guard for the Spiders when he's running those corner routes.
9 catches, 152 yards for Anthony Warham. Let's see if the Redbirds can finish off this drive. This is where they were picked off last time. They go with the slant, too tall for Anderson, incomplete. A double slant sailed over the head of John Mark Anderson.
But this is an area of the field where the Richmond Spiders like to play a 4-deep matchup zone rather than pressure. I've not seen them pressure this close to the goal line in any situations in recent games, even though they have been calling the blitz here during the course of this drive.
That's Anderson in motion, left to right. Roberson underneath, Coppridge, Marshawn Coppridge gets to the pylon, touchdown, Illinois State.
Right on the money by Trey Roberson. He continues to, despite the interception on the last possession, Sean, he continues to be outstanding in this half.
Coppridge hasn't had a lot of yards tonight, but he has found the end zone twice. And the candle stays lit for Illinois State, and they're faithful, down 12. Point after, up and good for Sean Slattery. Trey Roberson finding a familiar target, Marshawn Coppridge. All the yards the past couple of years. The Redbirds trying to make some late noise. Certainly stranger things have happened. 6:39 to go, an 11-point deficit for last year's national runner-up in Illinois State. Coach, with this much time, is it too early to start thinking onside kick if you're Illinois State?
It absolutely is not. And certainly Coach Rocco is thinking that because he's got his hands team in there with only one deep man should they surprise them with a deep kick.
Gordon Collins is the one deep man for Richmond. And it will be Slattery who sends it his way. Collins, remember, had that big one-handed catch on 3rd down earlier. Here he takes it out and will fight his way past the 20. Tough yardage there by Collins. Collision in the Richmond bench area as a couple of bodies went flying. Marshawn Copperidge with a couple of touchdowns in this game. His first career touchdown as a receiver out of the backfield. He certainly has scored his share of touchdowns running the football. Last year he set all sorts of records. This year led the Valley with 22 rushing touchdowns.
Now Richmond needs a few first downs and keep the clock running. The Redbirds desperately need a 3-and-out in this situation. Get the ball back with the clock running down. They need 2 scores, and their quarterback is hot.
Saw that side judge take a pretty good shot to the hip. 1st and 10, they will hand it off to Jacoby Green. Last time he touched the leather, he went 27 yards, bursting his way through the Illinois State defense, running through arm tackles to 6. So expect a steady dose. You mentioned it, Al. Guys that are your flag players. Green, one of them. Expect a steady dose of the senior from Jacksonville.
And they've gone with 2nd down and a long 3, short 4. They've got both fullbacks, Moore and Pavic, in the game. They've favored the power run here, sometimes with the fullback slipping in the flat. I wouldn't be surprised to see this power play to the left over here to Pavic.
In motion is Pavic. On 2nd down, Green gets the call. There was penetration, but he just doesn't go down on first contact.
You're right, Sean. That was all Green, keeping his legs moving. This is a runner with excellent balance, but great determination.
Matt McCown, like we've seen him do tonight, submarined his way in, but just could not get his left arm out in time to bring down the powerful Green, and the timeout has been utilized, I believe, by Illinois State here.
Well, good job by Coach Spack. He knows that he needs 2 scores. If you only need 1, it's a little early to be calling the timeout, but if you need 2, you got to start saving enough time to put 2 drives together.
Quarterfinal round, 2 games tonight, 2 more tomorrow. Jacksonville State currently leading late over Charleston Southern. Winner of this game will get the winner of UNI and North Dakota State, a Missouri Valley Football Conference showdown tomorrow inside the very loud Fargo Dome. Semifinals December 18th and 19th on the ESPN networks, with the finals in Frisco. Jacksonville State still leading by 10, 27-17. That game late in the 3rd quarter. Al, we started this broadcast talking about how the 2 conferences represented here tonight, the Missouri Valley Football and the Colonial, 2 of the elite conferences, more of the dominant conferences in the FCS landscape. The Colonial trying to take a huge step forward on 3rd down, as stretching ahead, the ball popped free. I believe Richmond got it, but even if they recover it, they're going to have to punt the football. Popping free late.
I was more than a little surprised here, Sean, on a 3rd and 1 that could create the first down that would really run the clock down in Richmond's favor. On this critical 3rd down play, they choose to let Lauletta carry the ball, even though the effective runners in the game have been Green and Broadus.
I think they might take another look at this one, as we got our first glimpse at that replay. Boy, it certainly looked like the quarterback was down. So let's see here. Timeout taken by Illinois State, I believe.
At critical times in the game, Sean, a formula that you can't ever be second guessed on is think players first, then plays. And we've seen what kind of runner, tough yardage, critical runner Green is. In that particular case, I would certainly like to have seen Green with the ball.
Take a look. This is Broadus. He landed on his own guy.
Broadus rather than Lauletta. I had that wrong, but I would still rather see Green with the ball.
So there's the stop that Illinois State so desperately needed. Terrific kick by Helkowski on the back pedal. Warham from the 25. Anthony Warham to the 40. A return of 21 yards. Good starting position for the Redbirds, but there is a flag back in the vicinity of an illegal block.
Not very good starting position afterwards. Cole Bumpus with a block in the back.
Number 29, receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Sean, it constantly amazes me why players can't tell the difference between the back of an opponent and the front of them. Here's one where the defender, the cover man's back, is clearly to Bumpus, and he just goes ahead and blocks him in the back, and now the ball goes back to the 15-yard line as opposed to being out at midfield. And with limited time left in the game, those 40 yards are significant.
Illinois State hasn't had a lot of penalties tonight, but they have come at some killer times. Remember, they had a tight touchdown wiped out that cost them 6 on the very next play. The pass by Roberson was intercepted. And now here they lose serious yardage and field position.
Those little
Gibbs with the catch.
Those little short plays at 4, 5, 6 yards that keep the clock running. Okay, those are, hey, look, they're decent plays for Illinois State, but they also keep the clock running.
Roberson looking left, nothing there. Settles underneath with Coppridge, who makes the catch. He is tackled immediately by Selton Hodge.
And the clock will temporarily stop, so what the Redbirds need to do is get a ball snapped within 3 seconds of the clock starting up.
From the 30-yard line, Roberson takes a shot downfield, and he has his man. Jefferson makes the catch. Oh, what a beautiful throw. Just out past the outstretched arms of Urlacher.
Yep, a terrific throw. You can see when Roberson can set his feet and step into his throw. He's got a lot on the ball. His hand is just fine, and Richmond's got to get out of this 3-man rush and begin to put some pressure on.
32 yards on the completion. Roberson with time again. Downfield, knocked away. He was looking for Warham. Help out coverage coming from Charles Mack. Getting a little interesting. You see the clock, 4:09 to play. Roberson with his highest passing yardage of the season, 335. He had a previous season high of 317 in the loss against the Jacks of South Dakota State.
Almost all of those in the second half, Sean.
Remember, this Illinois State offense had only 89 yards at halftime. Only marker down as Richmond showed blitz. I think they heard you, Al. They were ready to bring some pressure.
Snap infraction, number 54, offense.
Well, Sean, the threat of the blitz is often as disconcerting and distracting to an offense as the blitz itself. And that was the case on that particular one. They showed blitz from the same look that they have blitzed, and as soon as the offense saw it, they flinched.
Second and 15.
Brock Spack, Kurt Beathard take a shot toward the end zone with Warren. Keep an eye on number 82. He is the slot on the bottom of the screen, and now I think somebody flinched again up front for the Redbirds, and they continue to self-destruct.
Number 76, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's Pollock on the left side. What we were just saying about these inopportune penalties for Spack's Redbirds, and they have just bit them time and time again tonight.
They certainly have. They've had some uncostly mistakes, penalties, turnovers, broke down in the 2-minute drive at the end of the half. All the things that put you at a very disadvantage.
2nd and 20 after the back-to-back minor infractions. They'll get a good chunk of it back here with Coppridge. Picks up a nice block from Christian Gibbs, and he gets out of bounds.
Well, a good 20, 25-yard play. Coppridge out of the backfield. Roberson's got plenty of time against the 3-man rush. He's too good a passer to allow him this type of time, and he can get the ball down the field into big seams.
3rd down and a yard. Roberson's going to throw. Here comes the blitz. Roberson uncorks, caught at the 17. Gibbs again, the sophomore from Aurora, having a huge night, and Illinois State's inside the red zone.
Well, Roberson's up late in this particular case. He's taken some good hits in this half. This guy's too tough for it to bother him, Sean, and he's really putting on a show here in the second half, passing the ball. I'm tremendously impressed by the way Trey Roberson has played this second half.
How about the performance by Christian Gibbs? 8 catches for 96 yards. He entered this game with only 11 receptions all season.
Well, he's been a perfect complement to Anthony Warren. That 1-2 punch has really given a lot of balance and stretched the Richmond defense both deep and from sideline to sideline. And with 3:39 to go, Sean, there's plenty of time left in this game for a lot of things to happen. We've had a lot of fun so far, okay, and the fun's not over yet.
Second time tonight that they have attended to Trevor Jones. Jones has been all over the field for this defense. Looks like he's favoring a leg this time.
This appears to be maybe a little bit of a repeat of the situation that caused him to stay down before.
Trevor Jones went to high school at Charles City. They had a student enrollment of just 280 kids. He was recruited as an athlete. And he certainly has lived up to that tonight. Jake Colby is into the Illinois State lineup here on 1st and 10. So we saw Roberson take a late shot. And now it's the redshirt freshman from Naperville, and maybe the most precise moment of the season for the Redbirds. Colby trying to take a page out of the Trey Roberson playbook. Dives ahead. Touchdown. How about that?
We are having more fun. Well, we said at the beginning of the broadcast, Sean, playoff football. Exciting, challenging, unpredictable, always fun. How could we be having more fun than we are with this game right now? Needing a 2-point play in here someplace. 11 points. The Redbirds are going for 2 right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see the fade out to Warham, who's isolated on Aguni on the left side of the formation.
Roberson is back in there for Illinois State on this critical 2-point conversion. It's a keeper, and Roberson is swallowed up. So they will need 6 to pull off the comeback tonight.
Well, you're right, Sean. That's a tremendous difference in field position here at the end of the game. They're going to, when they get the ball back, need to go all the way to the goal line to win this game. But Coach Kurt Beathard followed that axiom. Think players first, then plays. And whether it's a run or a pass, there's no better player to have the ball on that 2-point play than Trey Roberson.
I don't know about you, Al, but I'm still trying to figure out the touchdown run by Jake Colby. Here's a young man, the redshirt freshman from Naperville. He was the Scout Team Player of the Year last season. He was forced to fill in when Roberson went down before the UNI game. Coming into this game, a minus 43 yards rushing. And here he is in the most critical juncture of the Redbird season on the only snap of the night where he's on the field. He takes it 17 yards, a thing of beauty. You might as well strap on jersey number 5 on that touchdown run because it certainly looked like Trey Roberson.
The Redbird coaches and fans and players are only thinking in the present moment. But when they get into the future a little bit, they're seeing some glimpses that this quarterback position has got great hope in the future with Colby.
We shouldn't be surprised if this thing is heading down to the wire with the history for Illinois State matched up against the CAA. No onside kick. They'll kick it deep to Collins. Gordon Collins, watch out. Harris trying to catch him to the corner, but Collins takes it to the 50 before he's driven down by Devontae Harris. A flag down on the return, but it's way down back where Richmond kicked the football. Or excuse me, Illinois State.
Illegal free kick formation. One of the players on the left side of the formation was more than 5 yards from the ball when it was kicked. 5-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. First down.
Sean, these Richmond Spiders continue to do all the right things. When a play has to be made, whether it's green on the touchdown run of 27 yards. Collins on the long kickoff return to give the Spiders great field position. The fact throughout the course of the game, Richmond's only gotten one penalty. They made the big plays at the end of the first half. They're doing all the right things that have to be done to win on the road against a quality opponent like the Redbirds.
2 tight ends, 1 timeout left for the Redbirds. Green the call. Jacoby Green, 7-8 yards over the right side, following Thomas Evans, his massive right guard.
Evans has had a terrific game with most of the rushing yardage that Richmond's got has been behind him over on the right side of the Richmond offensive line. That would be a good place to go again.
Evans is the strongest Spider to come through the program, the strongest in the Richmond history. He has set 3 lifting records: the power clean, the squat, and the bench. Bench press is 525 pounds. 2nd down and 3 from the 37. They'll try it left side this time, and this is Green, like we have seen him do in the second half. 2nd and 3rd effort. He'll pick up the 1st down and more. Precious time dwindling off the clock if you're wearing red.
Spiders did not get great production out of one of the parts of that formula for closing out a game in the 4th quarter, Sean. That's pass rush. Some pressure on the quarterback. There weren't any sacks. A lot of that has to do with Roberson's courage to stand in the pocket and his elusiveness, but they have sure made this run the ball in the 4th quarter part of things very significant.
Trey Roberson hoping to get one more crack at it. What a run it has been here in Normal for the former Indiana Hoosier, and just praying and hoping that his defense can give him one more shot.
He's had a marvelous game, and as we have spoken of with him, he's the competitive heart of this team. He breathes life and competitiveness and enthusiasm into every player.
Roberson over 400 yards of total offense, 370 through the air tonight. But it's all about the defense now on 1st down. Great dances, and he's into the clear. Richmond.
Touchdown, Richmond.
Does it again, and the Spiders and Jacoby Green are just going to keep on running here in the FCS playoffs.
Hey, and there's your other guy who breathes that competitive fire into his team. It wasn't long ago, Sean, that you were rightly bringing up he had 14 carries for 56 yards. But it's pretty hard to close a guy like this out for an entire game. And at the end of the game, he gets stronger and stronger, and that's when the running game pays off, and he's got himself well into the 100-yard category here in the 4th quarter.
Jacoby Green, for the 7th straight game, has went over the 100-yard mark. And the final 28 yards might be the one that seals it for Danny Rocco and the Colonial Athletic here tonight on the road. 39-27 Richmond. A defense that was anticipating the run, unable to stop it.
4 significant numbers on that scoreboard, Sean. Obviously, the most significant, 39 for Richmond, 27 for the Redbirds, but also 219 and the clincher, 0 on the timeout side for the Redbirds.
And you might be wondering, well, why didn't Brock Spack try the onside kick after that last score? He has confidence in his defense. This is a team coming in to this season, a team last year that lived on their defense. Sure, we mentioned the offensive firepower, but Brock Spack is a defensive guy. He had faith in that particular unit, just unable to get the job done.
Well, you're exactly right. You know, had they been able to pin Collins back down there, deep in his territory, stop him on 3 and out as they had done previously, it all would have worked out.
Here's the kick as it goes deep into the end zone. It sends Towns all the way back through the end zone. So Illinois State with the football, down 12 with 2:19 to go. And the Redbirds with some serious work. If Illinois State would have won this game, if they come back and win this game, they would have had the luxury of hosting next week's semifinals. But now everything kind of up in the air. UNI, North Dakota State, that's a crapshoot. 2 Missouri Valley Football Conference schools. could the road to Frisco stay in Fargo again? It certainly looks that way unless Roberson can get something done and Farley's boys from Iowa can knock off the 4-time defending champs. Incomplete pass to Christian Gibbs, 2nd down.
Well, with no timeouts for the Redbirds, a critical thing here for the Spiders to do will be to protect the sidelines. Okay, that is deny those passes that are thrown to the sideline where the receiver can make a catch with a limited amount of time run off and step out of bounds.
Roberson launches, incomplete. Looking for Gibbs, 3rd down.
3rd and 10 for Illinois State, 25-yard line.
Trey Roberson, the first Redbird quarterback to earn back-to-back first-team all-conference honors in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. It's been a year of perseverance for Roberson, really for this Illinois State team. They have had a couple of chances due to injuries to go south, but it never happened. Brock Spack, who was such a good manager of people, was able to keep the morale up as Roberson fires incomplete. You know, this is a team that looked like they were going to lose Roberson for a while when he sustained the thumb injury. Teddy Corbin, who we really haven't mentioned much tonight, he suffered a broken foot early in the season. This linebacking core was straddled with a couple of injuries. They lost Coker, their hard-hitting safety, but yet they were able to persevere, just keep winning, playing week to week, getting deep into the postseason. But will their story end tonight?
Well, they got one more play to find out here, Sean, on 4th and 10.
4th down. Roberson steps up. A 3-man rush from the Spiders. Roberson fires, incomplete. No flag. Warren pleading his case.
Well, Sean, you can fill in one part of that bracket because the Richmond Spiders are moving on to the next round of the playoffs.
Take a look here as
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 5, Illinois State. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down Richmond. That is number 5's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
some frustration mounting there as it looked like Oguni might have got away with a shove as he was jockeying for position for Warren, but the call and the celebration now for Richmond and Rocco and his Spiders leading by 12, and a situation tonight, a situation tonight with this program from Richmond coming in, a 19-game home winning streak for Illinois State. This has been their prize fortress, and they come in here and really dictate the flow from the get-go tonight.
Well, they certainly did. They had a plan. They were committed to throwing the ball deep. They did that. They were committed to stopping the run, which they did. They forced the Redbirds to be a one-dimensional team, really from the outset. And as spectacular as Roberson was in the game, to be a one-dimensional team was not enough. They followed their plan. They also came in here, Sean, to prove in this Missouri Valley Conference environment that they were a physically tough team who could compete with the teams from the Missouri Valley Conference, and they more than emphatically did that, and they did all the things that you have to do to win the game. Pretty amazing here in a game of this level of competition. One penalty in the course of the game, no turnovers, a significant third down conversion ratio, and a terrific job with clock management and execution at the end of the first half. They did all the things that win a championship, or certainly cause a team to move on to the next level.
The Friday night game presented some challenges to both coaching staffs. They held the game tonight rather than tomorrow night because commencement ceremonies will take place here at Illinois State tomorrow. So Rocco, with the road game, went with a little bit of a different schedule, plus Richmond had finals this week along with Illinois State. So Sunday night he brought the team in. They watched some film, closed the book on the win against William and Mary, opened up the book on Illinois State. Monday morning a 7 a.m. practice, and then they didn't come together until Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Wednesday they held a brief walkthrough before hitting a flight and arriving in Normal late Wednesday night. They practiced here yesterday. The schedule, the routine was handled perfectly. A fantastic career comes to an end for Illinois State's Trey Roberson, and the two coaches come together at center field. What a win for Rocco and the Richmond Spiders tonight.
Well, you're right about two classy guys meeting in midfield. They represent their programs and their schools with great class. Their teams are both built to last. They'll be in this hunt again next year. Just a lot of fun doing this game tonight. Highly competitive, players stepping up, making plays, coaches making good decisions and adjustment throughout the course of the game. This was a real football game tonight, Sean. Richmond will play the role of the spectator. Will it be UNI or four-time defending champion North Dakota State next week in the semis? So for Coach Al Groh, I'm Sean Kenny saying so long from Hancock Stadium in Normal, Illinois. Our final score, Richmond 39, Illinois State 27. To watch this game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Good night from Normal.